Hello there, you awesome boners. How are you? And welcome to this very overexplained Dark Mirror Skul the Hero Slayer run. This is for all of the new players who are either picking up the game sometime after this video's release, or for the more recent PS Plus crowd getting to play it over on their consoles. Now, I've done one of these before for the normal mode run of the game, so if you are interested and are new and want to see how I go about doing a normal run, what kind of goes into my thinking of the game, and maybe just explaining a few mechanics along the normal side of things, you can head over and check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description down below, but this one will focus on the Dark Mirror mode. Mostly the same, but there are a couple of new additions to that mode over normal. Now, first and foremost, how do you even unlock the Dark Mirror mode? Well, you have to go out and do one of your normal runs, jump off the balcony, go play the game normally, and beat the run. Once you've beaten the run at least once, you will get access to the Dark Mirror. There'll be a cutscene that plays. It involves Little Skul and the Witch, and by the time that cutscene is over, you will have this cool mirror in your castle. Now, this mirror will allow you to access the Dark Mirror world, and this funny dwarf fella on the side will have a number above his head. He helps you to adjust the difficulty, because the Dark Mirror not only is the continuation of the story for the game, which, you know, I recommend that you get in and actually do Dark Mode one way or another, and you'll be able to see how the story finishes, but it also doubles as the hard mode for the game. So if you look for a challenge, you want to come and do this. Now, the difficulty will go from level 0 all the way up to difficulty 10. This is the hardest that the game can be right now without adding things like mods into the mix. Now, don't be intimidated by the fact that this is hard mode in a sense, because the normal mode of Skul and the Dark Mirror version of 0, I want to say from 0 to 3, from 0 to 3, it's not that much more different. It's not difficult necessarily, it just adds new things. So it's more like additions without much difficulty increase. From 4 and up, they will start to introduce a bit more difficulty. There'll be some new enemy types that get shown along the way that might be a bit more challenging. And then certainly from 8 and up, it gets noticeably more difficult in a big way. In fact, 8 is hard, 9 is harder, and 10 is like a solid 60% harder than 9. 10 is just meant to be very, very difficult on purpose. So, without further ado, we need to get in, right? No, first and foremost, I want to remind you that you want to have your witch traits on board. This is something I always point out in all of my little guide-style videos. These are very, very important. Now, while you don't have to max all of these out before you go into the Dark Mirror, because you will still earn quartz in the Dark Mirror mode, you do want to make sure that you're coming back into the normal world and are putting points and finishing up the witch traits. Some people spend so much time in the Dark Mirror mode, they forget to come out and talk to the witch out here, and they just won't finish maximizing all of their traits. Two things I need to point out in particular are the Ancient Alchemy trait down here in the very bottom right. This lets you make gold when you destroy items. By default, you cannot destroy items and earn currency for it. With this, you can destroy your not wanted items, you know, either your replacements, or you might loot some items in a room and not want them. You can make some money back, so at least you're earning something. The second most important one is reassemble. This is your extra life, so when you die, you come back with first 30 and then 60% max life once you fully upgrade it. Eventually, you want to have all of these maxed out. None of these are useless, they're all good. Whether you choose to beeline it straight for the two important ones at the back, which are more expensive, or if you want to take your time and fill them in from left to right, it's entirely up to you. Just don't neglect this, and make sure that this is the first thing that you're prioritizing your Dark Quartz on, and that the Dark Knight over here is arguably the last, because the Dark Knight and the upgrades to the castle are all entirely cosmetic. There is one achievement that you can get for landing up here. Little Easter egg for you. If you land on this chandelier, you'll unlock an achievement. That's the only thing that you'll really get from unlocking the rest of the castle upgrades. So we move into the Dark Mirror, and things will look a little bit different for you and me if you're just starting this. Now, there's a lot of, it's a lot of machines in here. All of these machines are things that you will unlock as you progressively beat the... Ignore this. Ignore the statue here. The statue is special. Don't worry about it. Ignore it. All of these machines are things that you unlock by beating higher difficulty levels of the game. So when you first come in, this is going to look pretty barren, pretty bare. But with the help of the witch on the other side, the Dark Mirror version of the witch, you will eventually get all of these cool machines active, and they will all give you special bonuses during your runs. The important thing to remember is you only need to beat a new difficulty of Dark Mirror once to unlock its associated bonus. So initially you'll be getting these machines that let you select starting skulls. Initially you can only select common ones, but after you beat enough of the higher level runs, you will eventually unlock the ability to get rare skulls, like, you know, Alchemist and Water Skull, Bomber, they're all here, so you can cater your runs pretty much exactly how you want to start, right from the very, very beginning. It's really, really good. Same with items. Items, you can get, you know, your more rare ones, you can get common ones, you can get some pretty good ones that you may not see necessarily. I always recommend starting with the Carlane Insignia if you get the choice, and then either your sword or your wand, depending on what kind of a build you want to go for. For example, if I take the staff, I'm going to take the staff and the Carlane Insignia as my beginning, because I'm just going to start with Little Skull on his own, and we're going to go out and try and find some skulls to work with. This also means, if you really want, if you don't have a particular skull in mind and you want to kind of randomize it, you can choose to take 2 of these rares and break them. And now look at that, you've got some bonus skulls to start your run with. You can do the same thing with items if you want to break them. I just think it's a bit of a waste, and you should start with items you want to use. You definitely should start with skulls you want to use. I'm just doing this for demonstration's sake. But you could break 2 commons, you could take a common and break another common, keep Little Skull. Whatever you want to do with these machines, it's up to you. Now, the rest of them will be unlocked over time as you beat runs. So beat level 0, move up to level 1. Beat level 1, move up to level 2, and each time you will get a new machine. So if I show you this one, for example, obtain up to 2 additional inscriptions at the black market. We'll see that when we actually get to the shop. But a lot of these will increase the effectiveness of the shop, and some of them increase the effectiveness of just other aspects of the run. So restock the Dark Quartz at the black market up to 2 times. I'll point that one out when we get there as well. What's this one do? Bone fragments can be sacrificed on the altar of the Arachne clan. We will be using that. We use that in all of our runs. What's this one do? Obtain pure gold bars from the gold piles that appear as map rewards. We will see that. And there's one down here. This one actually confused people at first. Obtain additional bone fragments from the bone grave that appears as a map reward. People often ask, how are you getting extra bones from these bone piles? You're getting bones before you even break the skull. I will show you that when we get there. But in the meantime, let's actually begin. Now, this is on level 0, so for all of you who are just stepping into your runs, it will look very similar to this. But just know, if you want to actually see what the difference is between 0 and 10, most of my Dark Mirror runs that I've done in the last year or so are all on difficulty 10, and are all, you know, very difficult runs, I will admit. It may look easy. Some people have pointed out that I make difficulty 10 look a lot easier than it really is, but don't get it twisted, it's still tough for me as well. We will find NPCs like this along the way. I'm not going to talk to her yet because I don't need to. I've only got Little Skull. You'll see new enemies, like this guy right here. I mean, you saw the Cannoneer guys back there, but there are new enemy types. They're not necessarily very difficult, it's just that they're new, and you'll have to learn what they do. These big guys right here, you need to bounce on their head so that you can damage them, otherwise you can't hurt them at all. Oh, that's a pretty good star. Bone of Mana. Okay, rigged. Very, very strong, very, very good. There will be a lot of, you know, familiar faces, like these guys over here, but yeah, these cannon dudes, they just fire guys out of a literal cannon. They'll fall down. Some of them might even get out of the ground and try and hit you. Just get rid of them. They're not super threatening, as you can see. They're just different. Like, this is why I say that, you know, people shouldn't be intimidated by the fact that it's considered hard mode. It's not necessarily hard, it's just different. Now, this is a very important new addition. You have these special elite enemies, these dark infused purple dudes. They are more or less the regular enemies that you've seen. They're randomly selected based on, you know, whoever's in the room, so an archer happened to become at this time. And they all have different affixes. They basically just have special perks that they can get that will make them a little bit more challenging than normal. This involves, you know, plate armor. As you can see at the top, we've got a little boss health bar. It's not really, don't think of it as being too difficult. They're just dudes. But at the end of the day, they have these cool affixes. Plate armor, for example, will limit the amount of damage he can take. So he takes about 5% of that bar of armor in damage every time you hit him. It doesn't matter how hard you hit him or how little you hit him. It's about quantity. You just need to hit him until that breaks, and then after that, he's just a normal dude. Kill him. But we did just get a new resource. You want to kill these purple dudes, not that you have a choice, but you want to kill them because if you look down to the bottom right, above my golden bone count, we now have a 1. That's the Dark Hearts. Kill a dark infused dude, and you will get a new currency, and we will get to use this new currency on a completely new mechanic that is only available in the Dark Mirror runs when we beat a boss. So we'll get further ahead. I don't really want to use Slave. I just did a Slave run, literally the last video before this one. So I'm a little slaved out, to be honest. I don't need to do any more parrying right now, even though I love parrying. Keep killing dudes, just make your way through Act 1. Act 1 is gonna Act 1. I should be throwing my abilities more to trigger the mana bone. I just don't want to... I realize now I've got a very, very powerful and very potent item at the very beginning of this run, and I don't want it to make Dark Mirror look a little too easy. But, you know, it's very... Oh, you again! It's a very potent item for a Skul run, I will say that. Now, we have our new shop. So ignore the fact that I just hit that. That's habit. I have to feed the kitty. You press this and you feed the kitty. Actually, I might show you very quickly beforehand. Look at this. Look at the... Oh... There's special things down here. Now, this is very special and very unique to the Dark Mirror mode. There are a bunch of these little hidden things throughout your runs, and these all tie in to a very special secret boss fight that you can fight. I will not be fighting the secret boss in this particular video to save on anyone who wants to avoid spoilers if you are a new player and you don't want to see what the secret boss is, but you can unlock the secret boss. There are a number of these little hidden chambers, and you need to collect special items all in the same run in order to unlock the secret boss. Once you've done it once, the secret boss is available for every run thereafter. You don't have to keep doing this, but you need to do it at least once to unlock them. Now, the shop. There are a bunch of new additions. These are the inscription machines. These inscription machines will let you lock in +1 in any inscription that you have. So right now we have spoils, we have wisdom, we have treasure, we have bone, and another wisdom. So you can see the 4 we have on the left. So any of those ones, we can lock these in for a little bit of money, and it will just count extra towards that being filled in. So if you don't want to have to get 4 wisdom items and you only want to get 3, you can get 3 and lock 1 in. You cannot lock the same one in twice, though. So we could do, say, 1 treasure and 1 wisdom if we really want. We could do one bone and 1 wisdom, 1 spoils. It doesn't matter. It basically just makes it easier to fulfill your inscription levels without having to worry about finding more and more items, because the item pool has gotten very large since the release of the game, and maybe it's a bit more difficult to find things that you want. Up here, we have a Dark Quartz pedestal. I don't recommend engaging with this until you've gotten all of your witch traits, because what this does is it's a dump for you to spend your Dark Quartz. I have a lot of Dark Quartz. I have 1,200 hours in the game. I've been saving my quartz up for a long time now. This machine will let you get items for your Dark Quartz, and if you don't want to take what's on the pedestal at the start, you can re-roll it by spending 500 at a time, and there's a number that will tick down. That's how many re-rolls you can do. I will say, for all of you new guys out there who have some disposable income, you will always find at least 1 legendary item when you roll this down, either along the way or at the very, 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 very minimum, a legendary will always show up at number 5. There it is. So you will always find at least 1 legendary. Now, I'm loaded on Dark Quartz, and I earn more Dark Quartz per run than what I spend doing this easily. So I always roll this down in the first shop and take whatever legendary item is on number 5, even if it's not useful for my build. So let's say I keep doing my Magic Boy run and I want to focus on Wisdom and Magic. I will still take this legendary item because I can sell it for 842 gold, and all I've had to spend is some Dark Quartz that I no longer need. My witch traits are maxed out, my castle is maxed out, everything else that I need. Also, the Grave Robber, there's an NPC who will show up over here sometimes in the shop, and he will sell you new unlockable items and skulls and various things, and you need to spend Dark Quartz to get the things that he sells. Once you've unlocked your witch traits and you've bought everything from this guy, and maybe the castle, if you care, start engaging with this. I mean, you could just come in, you don't have to spend any Dark Quartz, you can just take whatever the first item is on display. And then even if you don't want to keep it, you can sell it. You've not had to spend any Dark Quartz, you can make some easy money that way. It's very, very, very good, and see, like, if I wanted to, I could sell this right now, but I'm not going to. I'll keep it for now because it's not hurting anyone. We have Hate Stone on display. Oh yeah, that's another one. We have 4 pedestals now. Instead of 3, we now have 4 of them. And we also have this cool thing over here. So this extra pedestal will sell things like shields, bonus health, special drugs that will increase your stats. We'll also sometimes sell... There's one of the drugs that give extra stats. So we have the Miracle Drug of Ferocity, more attack, just 10% more. And I don't know if it'll show... Oh, there's some health increase. We really like Token of Conquest. It's very, very good. We get some more max life. And it can even give you skulls. It'll also have presents, various different things, just oddities, little nice things here and there. The Ceremonial Dagger is not a bad take, to be honest. And since I don't have a secondary skull right now, I'm going to sell our legendary, get some money, and buy this dagger. and then move on. Come into our adventurer fight. This is a new addition to hard mode. You can see the archer girl just sacrificed a lot of her health, and what she's done is she has set up a special magical sigil in the sky, and periodically during your adventurer fight, a special effect based on which adventurer it was that sacrificed health to the sigil will trigger. As you saw, her special one is that every so often, and it's not very frequent, it's fairly infrequent depending on who it is. For the archer girl, it's only every so often. She'll rain arrows from the sky, and that's literally it. But this does happen for every adventurer fight here on out, so you can see she's over there doing a bit of huffing and puffing. She's all injured. Once you beat them, you know, loot them as usual, get your health, maybe some items if you're lucky. Bam. You can take them down after that. She's dropped me some hunter's boots, thank you. I like that because at the very, very minimum, that's 420 extra gold for me if I sell it, so yippee, I don't care. Growing Volition, Kobold, or Ant Skull. I don't really want to use Ant Skull, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to break him. I highly, highly, highly recommend for players who are getting into hard mode to prioritize skull rooms and prioritize getting bones in their runs, because it will be very, very beneficial for not only upgrading your skull, but also these new pedestals down here. So this is one of those new dark machines I showed you that you can unlock once you get high enough in your mirror runs. I don't remember what runs unlock which feature, so I'm going to let that be a surprise for you so that you just beat your runs and see what you unlock back at the main hub each time. So what these do is they let you dump bones in allotments of 15. So if you want, we could offer 15 bone fragments to this particular altar, and what this one will do is increase our max life and give us a heal. So if you want to get beefier and thicker, you put points into this middle one here. If you want to get more damage, you dump them into this one. You'll get more physical and magical attack. And the final one over here on the right is more attack speed and cooldown speed. The goal that I always set for myself in every single one of my mirror runs is to upgrade whoever my dominant skull that I want to use is to legendary, and then start trying to fill in all of these, prioritizing, for me personally, more damage and more max health. And if my skull is suitable for more attack speed and cooldown speed, I'll go for these, but I often find that cooldown speed is a bit easier to manage with items, and that raw damage and more health is especially more difficult to come by. Now, I will show you another little Easter egg over here. This is another one of those special secret boss unlockable things that you need to find. It is specifically here after the first, in the first Arachne room. You just do a down drop through the floor, and you can bounce on a little spring. You'll see the hole in the ceiling right here that you can bounce up through. Now, I'm not going to invest in any points just now into my bone pillars, because I don't have the skull that I want to use yet. You watch me end up just doing a skull-only run at this point, and I'll just not even get another skull. And I don't want to do that, but I've got the mana bone. The guy, purple dude. I always call them the guy, the purple guy. He has Disaster, the Disaster trait. You just saw he spat out a bunch of purple flames. They can hit the ceiling or hit the ground, and those purple flames are just, you know, they're on the ground, they're wherever they are. If you walk into them, you take damage. It happened to be on the rock thrower guys. The rock thrower guys are a new type of enemy. All they do is they will aim ahead and spit out a rock that will do damage to you. You can literally stand on top of them, and they will not be able to hurt you unless the rock can bounce back and hit you. Another new thing. Oh no, it's the Sun and Moon Omen. I'm not going to take any omens in this run just because I don't want to inflate the difficulty and make it look worse than it is. So omens are a new type of item that you can find only in the Dark Mirror. They're kind of like... they're stronger than unique items, but they're still weaker than legendary items. So they're kind of like the in-between, although the omen rarity is kind of its own thing. These are like cursed items. They have very, very, very powerful effects. As you can see, 70% more damage across the board is very, very strong. But every omen item always comes with the omen inscription. By having just one omen item, damage received will increase by 50%. If you have 2 omen items, your life is halved. If you have 3 omen items, you will immediately die if you get hit and take 1 damage or more. You can use immunity effects like slime, like iframes from skulls like Reaper, from the smoke screen effect from Thief once you upgrade him high enough. Little Frost Skull and Ent and Gargoyle, the guys who are immune to damage when they swap in. Any damage immunity will save you from this, but if you take actual numbers of damage, you will die immediately. So 3 Omen is kind of the hardest kind of run you can do, because you get hit, you die. And Omens, it's a trade-off. Very, very, very potent effects at a very, very, very sharp cost. What I will say is, if you find a chest like this where you get a bunch of items that you're not really fussed on, always try and sell the item that sells for the most, because they're not always even, or at least equal. So 422 for all of the rare items. This sells for 562, so we're going to sell the Omen item and make a little bit more money, and then move on. I need to get to a skull room so I can find a new dude. Start killing these mushroom fellas, avoid rocks. If I can, I'm just going to sit here and show you how ineffective these rocks really are. You can just stand here. This is all he will do. He will just spit out rocks. He's easier than most normal mode enemies. The crossbow guy with the dog, I realize I never mentioned, he's like an improved version of the archers, except he has a little puppy dog that fights with him. I love his little armor set. You can injure the dog so that he lays down and he will just recover life, but you can't ever actually kill the dog. It's such a good thing that the developers put in, and you'll notice that even if you get rid of the archer, the dog just jumps off the screen and goes away. He doesn't even die, so yay. We killed the dude, we spared the dog, everyone's happy about that. Hatestone, we'll take some Hatestone. I passed up Hatestone in the first shop, so we'll come in here and do it this time around, and we'll worry about the next. Now, up here, our cool little dark quartz machine, you can see one of the two little icons below the number 5 have been, you know, blocked out. That's because you can only get items from this thing twice per run, and the reset count will stay. So we put this all the way down to 5 to get a legendary item the first time around. We come in, we only get a couple of re-rolls to look for something that we like. We're not a big fan of most of these. Now at 0, we can't re-roll it anymore. The numbers are gone, but we can leave this here and come back in. Every time we come to the shop, this item will still get randomized, so we can wait until we find something good. Or if we get impatient, we just take whatever's there and say, screw it, we'll just use whatever. Or sell the item. Like I said, it can also be considered free gold if you're worried about that. But ultimately, we want to come in and do some funnies. Now, we have... I want to lock in maybe treasure and show you how this inscription machine works. So we can pick treasure here, and we pay a little bit of money, and it's locked in. So even though we only have one treasure item, we now have treasure 2. This is something that I mentioned in the normal Overexplained run, but I will mention now. Inscriptions on your items are arguably the most important thing that you need to consider when it comes to building your actual item set. The items themselves can be very, very potent and very, very strong, but the way that the game tries to balance them is you will get very strong items, like, say, the Ceremonial Dagger, which is only a rare, but has crit increase, and the very easy potential, mind you, because a 10% crit rate, plus if you crit enemies, you get a big magic boost for a few seconds, and at 20% crit rate, you're probably going to crit, you know, fairly often if you're in the middle of attacking. It's not hard to keep Ceremonial Dagger's effect permanently active in the middle of a fight. But the way they balance that is they will give it not bad, but more middle-of-the-road inscriptions, whereas items like the basic staff, it gets spoils, which is kind of eh. Spoils is very, like, one of the more forgettable inscriptions, but wisdom is one of the most, if not is the most powerful magic-based inscription in the entire game. Same thing for Bone of Mana. Bone of Mana has wisdom, very, very strong. And then some items like the Hate Stone, which you only get that magic boost if you get hit, reward you with 2 of the best inscriptions in the game. Artifact is the magic equivalent to arms, a very, very strong effect, and Revenge, which is arguably the strongest defensive inscription in the entire game. If you're having a hard time with your runs, with staying alive, take Revenge. Revenge is insanely good. I highly, highly, highly recommend Revenge. You only need 2 in Revenge for it to be potent. You can go for 4 if you happen to find enough items or, you know, just get lucky, but 2 Revenge is enough. That's why in runs like this, you could just find 1 Revenge item and then lock in your second Revenge. Done. Leave it that way for the whole run and you'll have very, very, very good survivability on your side. Now let's do a little bit of rolling here to see if we can find something. That's a wisdom box. Okay, so this is very good. Very good for the demonstration here. We have a bunch of items that we can't really afford. I would otherwise grab the Prayer of Grace because cooldown speed is very, very nice and it has Mana Cycle on it, which is a very, very good inscription. But you might get these inscription-based little boxes up here that will give you an item, a guaranteed item, that has wisdom on it. It's affordable, we like wisdom, let's open it. The Ritual Staff, this is insane. Okay, so this is a very, very good run in general, not even just for a demonstration, but it's a very, very good run. So the Ritual Staff, one of the best items in the game for balanced skulls, one of the best items for magic skulls in general. It has the 2 best magic inscriptions on it, period, Artifact and Wisdom. Big magic damage, cooldown speed increase for balanced skulls. It's like having a Prayer of Grace mixed with a fat damage boost and the best inscription. So now we've got 3 Artifact, 3 Wisdom. At this point in time, it would be very worth our while to lock in the 4th wisdom in our 2nd machine if we had enough money, and then we wouldn't need to worry about finding any more wisdom items at all. We'd have a very, very easy time doing big damage. Now, unfortunately, the way that our run has progressed is going to give you a very inflated, interpretation as to the difficulty of these runs, because we're going to do a lot of damage now, and we're going to make the run look a little easy. But that's not to say that it's, an insanely difficult run to begin with, because like I said, difficulty 0 is arguably easier than normal, because you do get all of these good perks and upgrades that kind of make you more powerful than you would be in a normal run, and the enemies typically are only at about normal difficulty strength. They're not very strong, they don't have much of a health or a damage boost to them. You mostly just see new enemies. You'll see new guys to worry about, but they're not going to be that strong. Once you learn what they do, you're fine. Now, here's one of the bonuses that we had from the Dark Tech machines as well. We have these gold bars. Don't worry about breaking them. Basically, the extra bones and extra gold bars that I get from certain piles, it's just free. If you leave the room and you leave them on the ground, they'll be destroyed automatically. My 1119 goes up to 1229 for my gold. It's fine. Don't even think about it. The game is basically just saying you get extra resources because it knows you're going to be spending more money. You're going to be spending more bone fragments. It's the game's way of compensating for the inflated currency requirement in Dark Mirror, because there's so many new things to spend money and bones on. They need to give you new bones and money, or give you more of them, so that you can actually benefit. Now, the boss fights. I skipped through phase 1 very quickly here, but the boss fights improve. So Yiggy, whenever he slams the ground now, will shoot out dark spikes. You just need to keep moving to avoid them. I'm not going to make this like a guide on how to fight the bosses. I'll leave that up to you a little bit, because the difference for Yiggy is not dramatic to begin with. It's mostly the spikes. His hand swipe also changes a little bit, where he shoots rocks out from above. So it's a little bit tricky just to jump over them. So I recommend you dash through the hand, which you can do, for anyone who didn't know. Dash through his hand, rocks come out. You can still jump over the hand, just do a jump and a dash and try and avoid the rocks, but Rocks and Thorns is the name of the game for Yigs on hard mode. It's not that much more difficult than what he was on normal mode. However, the sisters might be a new Wolfie, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Jagamon Thorn, Rear, Jenny's. We do have Shadow Knights. Shadow Knights is pretty nice, but that kind of invalidates. This will just immediately invalidate all of the enemies in the area, and I need to show you the enemies as opposed to skipping them entirely. So what I'm going to do is destroy Shadow Knights for a 15 max life boost. There we go. Now, as Beelz remembered, he has remembered. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little patch of grass that I'm standing on right here that's colored differently to all of the others. And if I jump up and down on it a little bit... Oh, there we go. We break open the floor. We come down into here, and it's another one. 3 of the necessary special, Easter eggs are found in Act 1 alone. The first one in the shop, you can get that one pretty much all the shops. If you, miss it in the first shop, get it in a different one. You feed the cat, and while Fat Cat moves away and he starts eating, go jump down the hole. Second one, first Arachne shop, last one after the Yigs fight. Now, moving on. New screen. This is a completely new screen for Dark Mirror mode. We have a special ghost over here. I'll let you, learn about the ghost guy when you do the run for the first time, but we have these cool new dark abilities that we can unlock. This is what the dark hearts are for. Whenever you kill those special purple elite enemies, you will come in and you will have a big selection of these. Now, initially, I believe you only get from the start to Kingslayer, I think. It should stop here. As you progress in the difficulty tiers of Dark Mirror, you will eventually, one of those machines will unlock the rest of them, and will give you the second half. Both halves have some very, very, very potent and very strong bonuses that you can get. The first half specializes mostly in static increases, so do more damage with your basic attack, get more max health, some critical boosting, some movement speed boosting, some good defensive ones, as well as, weakness exposure, which to me is one of the strongest ones that you can get in the initials. Kingslayer helps fight bosses a bit easier, but in the second amount, this is why, once again, I want you to try your best to climb up through the difficulty tiers. If you're having a hard time, I've got a ghoul video for new players that shows how the ghoul skull is one of the best skulls for getting wins both in normal and the Dark Mirror mode. He is very, very, very powerful. I would have started with Ghoul, but I want to show you that pretty much any run can be good enough, because we all know by now that Ghoul is insane. And if you don't believe me, go check that one out. If I remember, I'll link that Ghoul video in the description down below, which will show you some easy build options if you can find a Ghoul, or even Shield. Shield Skull works well for it, but both of those skulls are very, very nice for getting your wins in the game. Ignore my puppies. I have puppies. They're loud, they're rambunctious, they like to play in the hallway just outside my room. In the second amount of upgrades that you'll get once you get there, you'll find some very nice ones. The two most potent and powerful ones in the entire game, in my opinion, as well as a lot of others in the community will agree. Collection Desire will give you a damage boost for every inscription that has at least 2 or more in their tiered possession. So if we look at the left of our inscriptions over here, we have 2 in spoils, 3 artifact, 3 wisdom, 2 treasure. So that's 4 inscriptions that have a minimum of 2 in them. So that's 25% more damage for each one. That would be 100% more damage just by having this dark power and having enough inscriptions. And that will continue to go higher if we keep getting new inscriptions leveled up. This becomes a very, very potent and easy way to get anywhere from 100 to 200% more damage just added on. It's kind of like having a legendary item all on its own that gives you a big fat damage boost. The second most potent one is Silent Cries. This helps with skill cooldowns. Now, if you've played the game a little bit, then you know that the faster you can spam your abilities, the more damage you do, the faster things die. Yippee. This basically acts as that. Faster cooldowns may as well be a damage, a DPS increase. Very, very good. These two are insanely good. This one here is an extra life if you want to have another second life to go through. Last Resistance is here. It's very, very good. As well as Predicted Pain and Soul Strike are two very good options for skill builds for doing big damage with your attacks. Once again, I recommend Weakness Exposure if you're doing a very spammy kind of build that does a lot of damage very quickly. And what's another one? Reckless Posture is a very good defensive one if you're getting hit a lot, especially consecutively. It's very, very strong. Now, for this run in particular, I'm gonna start, because we only have 2 Dark Hearts, we'll pick Silent Cries, one of the best cooldown boosting ones. And as you can see, it has 1 of 2 upgrade tiers. Our cooldowns are now 20% faster. Well, we increase the cooldown of our ability by 20% after we use a separate ability. So it's kind of like, imagine for a second you use one skill and now it's on cooldown. If you use a second skill, that first one will come off cooldown a little bit quicker. And so it encourages you to alternate using skills. If you have a skull like Reaper or Warlock who have fairly long cooldowns on their abilities, you can use both of their skills, and now you've run out of skills. So swap to your second skull and use their abilities, and that will help make Reapers come off cooldown faster. It encourages swap play, it encourages quick cooldown spam builds. Very, very good dark ability. But we can't maximize it yet because we need 4 more Dark Hearts, you can see down the bottom right, in order to finish putting this in. If you do not want to keep this, you can use some money and you can destroy this, take it out, you'll get a full refund of the hearts you've used, and you can reinvest it. The only thing you lose is money. Now, what about the red ones in the middle of the screen? These are cursed. You will get 2 of these randomly, just generated and given to you every time you come to this room, so you don't always know what you're going to get, but they are very potent, but they do have balancing features. Some of them are more balanced than others, in that some of them just don't have a negative at all, and they're always worth taking, and then there are others that have a genuine, ooh, do I want to take that kind of feel to it. So for example, Weakling, your skill casting speed increases by 150%, but your basic attack casting speed decreases by 80%. Now, that doesn't mean the cooldown, that means how quickly the abilities actually activate. So a 150 casting speed increase, if you've got a skull that is a bit on the slow side, their abilities will come out super quick, but their basic attack will slow down. It'll make, for example, Little Skull feel like he's swinging his bone club in slow motion, and it's very, very rough for skulls that like to use their basic attack as filler damage in between their abilities. I do not recommend this on, say, a Berserker build or some of the slower, more clunky power skulls out there, because they will be fighting in mud at that point. We have no more Dark Hearts to spend, we can move on. It's also worth mentioning all of the cursed Dark Heart abilities only cost 1 to purchase and only ever cost 1 to fully maximize, so they're a little bit more lenient. Now, we come in here, we have Arachne, she's got the pillars down here, we're not going to use those just yet. I really do need to find a skull that I can start investing in. Like, I really need to. Some new enemies. Big Shield Spear Dude. Big Shield Spear Dude is basically the same as regular Spear Dudes that are currently poking me in the face, except he has a big shield on the front, which means if we try and damage him from the front, we don't do any damage to him, so we're going to move behind him. And then when he tries to poke us, we just move out the way. He's not very difficult. The difficulty with most of these new enemies mostly comes from the swarm. So it's much like regular enemies that you'll come across. They're not hard necessarily on their own, but when there's like 10 dudes and they're all various types, say you've got some big orb spitter dudes right here mixed with some spear guys, maybe a shield dude or two and some archers sitting in the back, suddenly it gets a bit tricky. But on their own, any given single enemy isn't really that much of a problem. Finish these guys off quickly and we start moving. Let's get to the next skull pile. Is it someone I want to use? You know, Water Skull's not bad for now. We'll take him for now just because he does a bit of magic damage and he's not too bad. I don't think I'll use him as my, like, final skull. But he's kinda cool. You know, he's got some vibes about him. We spin out over here and we'll start doing this. Considering we've got Mana Bone already, I'm really tempted just to keep using Basic Skull, but I need to find a guy I can upgrade and kind of show you more of the... Ow, don't hurt me. More of the actual, like, gameplay loop that Dark Mirror wants you to engage in, but I've kind of got a run going that doesn't want to do that. My game has a bit of a personality to it, it seems, and it's not... It's you know... It's being mean. Samurai is a physical boy, we don't want to do him. We've kind of got a big magic build going right now, so we'll just destroy him. Also, yes, for those who are curious, you do not need to manually break skulls in order for them to be destroyed automatically. All skulls and all items that are left on the ground will break automatically when you leave the room and will get added to your pile. If you don't believe me, go back about 30 seconds and take a look at the samurai skull. When I walked out of the room, I got the skull bones that I've needed allocated to my pile, alright? It just works that way. The only things you'll have to manually open or break are things like the treasure inscriptions treasure chests, which I've missed a couple of them already. I know, don't worry. I'm bad at remembering treasure chests. I'm thinking about too many different things all at the same time. Or containers for bones. So you'll go into some secret room sometimes and find little urns that have bones in them. You'll need to manually open those. But items like these, skulls, quintessences, if you leave those on the ground, they will be broken automatically. Alright, that's all you got to worry about. Now, I do have some money to lock in that fourth wisdom, and we'll do it. And inscriptions will be nice and yellow. There are some inscriptions you can't lock in. For example, Masterpiece is one that we have in our pile. But as you can see, it doesn't matter how many times I flick through, we won't see Masterpiece. You cannot lock Masterpiece in. That's one that you have to manually build by having items. There are certain inscriptions that just... They have to play by the rules because the developers realized they'd be too busted otherwise. We have a cool drug over here that increases attack and movement speed. I'm not too fussed by it. Also, just little mini word of the wise, Slime is arguably the best inscription, best quintessence rather, in the game. I'll buy him just to show him off a little bit. I feel like I'm cheating because of how good he is. It's only a 15-second cooldown, but you become a slime for 3 seconds, and you become immune to all damage. Not only that, but Slime's little jump that he can do, as you just saw, will trigger item effects that are reliant on skill uses. So things like Mage's Necklace, Mana Bone, anything that says it'll activate if you press a skill, his little jump counts as a skill. So you can still do a little bit of damage if you happen to have a effect that works like that, but it's mostly really, really good for getting around very dangerous attacks that your bosses or certain enemies might do. It's a panic button. So it's like, I don't want to get hurt. Slime. Wait it out. We're safe. We're good. Thank you. Wonderful. It's also, just as a little bit of tech, if you have a skull who has a swapping effect that you're not a big fan of that takes a long time, for example, we have Little Skull's spinning whirlwind of bone that he does, and for some people it's a bit of a love-hate relationship because it can leave him vulnerable when he swaps in. So what if we slime cancel it and we do a swap slime? Well, now we don't get hit and we can kind of reposition ourselves, whereas Little Skull we can quickly swap back into water now if we want to. It's just a nice way of kind of cheesing certain negative frame issues when it comes to being locked in place. I just killed the lady's dinner cart. They're a dinner cart maze. They'll push their little trolley across the screen in an attempt to run you over. They're very, very rude. There are also these cool little butler guys with rapiers. They will posture a little bend at the knees, and then they do a little rapier poke. They might roll backwards and then do it, or they'll just crouch forward and do it. They're not terribly difficult. There's a much bigger, more dangerous version of that enemy that you might run into in higher difficulty levels. But the normal ones, nah, they're not a problem. Now, where's Dinner Cart Lady? There she is, rushing her dinner cart across the screen. I'm trying my best not to activate any effects that would get me in trouble by killing her. All she does is push the dinner cart towards you. You can dodge through it, you can jump over it. Once the cart itself is destroyed, she flies off of the cart, depending on how close you are, and just throws plates at you. It's just a way of taking an already annoying enemy and really doubling down on it. Another omen item, it sells for more. As you look, 2 common items, a rare, and an omen. So always look at what items you've got. If you walk out of the room and you don't make a choice, the game will just select one of these items randomly, will destroy it, and give you the money. So in the cases where you open up a chest and get a selection of items, either verify that they're all the same rarity so it doesn't matter, or at the very least, pick one that's going to give you the most bang for your buck, right? Give you the most money. Now, I could or should take the rejuvenating route to get access to Revenge 2, which is very strong as an effect. I'm going to do that, actually. The route itself isn't really a great item just for giving you 1 health. It's very, very niche. It does work very well for certain characters and certain builds. Plate armor, again. I hate plate armor. Plate armor is annoying. I'm going to slime. There we go. Do a little slime action over here. Hello, ma'am. Can you perish for me? Thank you. Boing. I just realized the musical dudes don't appear in Dark Mode 0. There are enemies that play trumpets that you'll find at higher difficulty levels. They're just projectile guys, basically. They play music, and it'll send out a little musical shockwave that comes after you. Just annoying, but it's cute that they don't show up in 0. I haven't done a 0 run in a little while, so apologies if some things take me by surprise. I've been doing 10 runs for so long now. I come down onto difficulty 0, and it's surprising. Now, fight number 2. We saw the priest lady has summoned a sigil in the sky. These 2 dudes are going to try and fight me the way they normally do. But priest lady's little sigil in the air will do, I think, a couple of different things is what it can do. It can, you know, obviously try and heal them. I think it can do a damaging effect on the ground. It'll put like a little swirling portal kind of effect on the ground. It looks like it's just trying to, you know, buff them and help them at this point, but I don't know if I wait long enough it'll do the other ones or not. Some of the sigils are a bit tricky because, you know, they alternate a little bit. Do enough damage to stop that guy from doing his attack. Why am I not using Water Skull Bite? I keep thinking I've only got 1 dude. I have 2 dudes. Nah, she's just going to keep putting that effect on him. It doesn't look like she's going to do anything else. So let's just get rid of this guy. She's not really much of a problem. There are different, like, the Archer Lady, the Mage Girl, and the Ninja, could you believe it, are easily the most annoying extra adventurers who can lend their power to the fight. Definitely if you get those ones, they have more impact. Priest Girl can be just, you know, mildly frustrating at worst, but completely ignorable at best. Let's see, we have a bunch of things that I don't really care about. We have Gargoyle. I'm not going to entertain Gargoyle. We're going to destroy him. I may as well just do Water Skull at this point, dude. I mean, it kind of sucks because Mana Bone's not going to get to do, you know, double balance things, but maybe that evens the build out a little bit so that we're not too overpowered for what is effectively a demonstration. So let's come in and let's start upgrading Waterboy Arachne. I'm not going to over-explain upgrading your skulls. You guys already know how this works. Oh yeah, I haven't got my 100 bone fragments. So we have unique Aqua now. We still have little basic common Bone Boy. If you're not a believer in Little Skull, believe me, he is very potent. When he is just on his own, he is basically as strong as a common. But with the right items, he can become as strong as a unique or even a legendary skull. He's very, very, very strong on his own, regardless of what you may or may not think. He is a very good boy. We like him, alright? We like the title boy. He do the good damage and don't care about nothing. No, stop that. I got Spirit of the Lake, too. I just realized I got Waterboy's best skill. Lovely. Crack this open. Water! I don't need to re-roll my abilities, because I got a good one. Nope. Take a Skull Room. Water! What are you doing? No, I can't start doing water puns again. I can't. This is a very serious Overexplained video where we're killing through enemies and going through the motions. Now, some of these rooms might have new layouts that you didn't see in normal mode. Some of them might have new enemy placements, but for now I'm not seeing new enemy types that are, you know, anything special outside of normal mode, so I'm just going to do the rooms and show you that the rooms are very achievable if you know what you're doing, or you've done them a couple of times. Don't worry if you're, like, you know, a little overwhelmed by some of the rooms or enemies. It's, you know, it's a new thing. We still haven't used this item up on this pillar. I'm going to let it stay there for a little bit, until at the very least I can get an item that's not a common, so I can sell it for more money, or preferably something that at least benefits the build would be lovely. Ah, here we go. You can get bone pouches. It's just spend money and get extra bones. So, you know, 10 bones is nice. It means we don't have to worry about the genie over here. I can just get some extra cash. I'm not too worried about our item pool right now. Our item pool will slowly, you know, kind of fill itself in. Even though we haven't taken that many item rooms, I'm not too fussed on it. We'll take those extra bones, re-roll the shop a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of physical-based items, but I see a little bit of drug power. We'll take that. They do stack. You can see down the bottom in the middle where all my bonuses are. I now have a number 2 next to the little red drugs. We have 20% more damage. It's not a lot. It's just nice to have. I'm going to go slime mode for this. Look at that, dude. Slime just killed all of them. Isn't slime powerful? He's only doing that because of the item. I know, don't worry. There we go. We'll get rid of those guys. Hello, sir. Now, Water Boy... I was going to say, I need to show off what Silent Cries can do. So we need to go into water. If I use up all of Water Skull's skills, a little too early admittedly, you see how his skills, one's off cooldown? But if I throw some of Little Skull's abilities, you can see the cooldown on that second one is coming off much faster. In fact, I should do this more intelligently. Let's do... There, now we go. This and this. Right, both of his skills. They're coming off cooldown extra fast because Little Skull is using his skills. So whenever any other skill is used, Silent Cries will increase their cooldown speed by 20%. They'll just give it a little bump forward. It's very, very good for spamming abilities back and forth. Abyssal Virus, bit of artifact. Never hurt anyone. I've got a free slot. May as well take it. The other items there are kind of poo-poo. At least for this build they are. This is a new enemy. I shouldn't kill him straight away, but I think the water waves are going to do that for me. Yes, I'm sorry. So, Big Man is just Big Hammer Dude. He's actually not a threat at all, despite the fact that he looks big. He has one attack that will shove you away. It doesn't do damage. He just pushes you back. He literally raises his hammer in the air, waits like 3.5 to 4 seconds. There's a big red telegraph on the ground, basically just saying, don't stand here. You can jump in the air. You can dash around on the ground. It's like when Yiggs does his big slam on the ground. It's just a big slam. And as long as you are not on the ground when he throws the hammer, you're fine. Also, obviously, don't stand directly in front of the hammer. The hammer itself does have a hitbox, and if you get hit by the hammer itself while just cruising in the air, yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Oh, look, what's this over here? This wall's got some light showing through it. Oh. Oh, look at that. It's another one of them. Oh, look at that. How cool is that, dude? Wow. 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 I'm paranoid now that I'm missing some. Have I missed one yet? I hope I haven't missed one. It'd be cool if I could just show you all of them through the run, so if you wanted to, you could, you know. I might leave 1 or 2 missing, though, but that'd be kind of mean, right? To leave 1 or 2 out, just so you have to find them on your own. Alright. This fight is now much faster. As you can see, they are cruising across the screen at the speed of light. That's the main gimmick. They all do the same thing, but some of their attacks are now also, like, the light ray is thicker. So whenever they do those little slashes across the screen, they're much thicker. And all of their attacks are sped up. They're now fighting on... Oh my god, how much damage did that lady just take? Okay, we're doing some damage. I'm... No, stop, stop. The water is killing her. The water is killing her. So, all of their attacks are just much... Oh my god, they're gonna die to passive effects. All of their attacks are much, 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 much faster. All you need to do is just react earlier than you used to, so if they're going to appear on the sides of the screen, just walk around casually. Most of their attacks you can avoid just by moving around and jumping. But the Dark Sister, this is where it can get a little frustrating, because Dark Sister is on some bullshit. Her Dark Slashes linger on the screen longer than they used to, and her waves from her Pounce attack now go higher into the air. This is all Hollow Knight reference fight, so of course, much like the Mantis Lord fight, the big Mantis Lord, the waves are big and you have to dash through. All of these lines are bigger and thicker, and they stay on the screen for longer. So if you dash, I might try and showcase it. you actually have to be in between them. Usually it would just be a matter of the lines are appearing on the screen, do a couple of cheeky dashes and you'll avoid the damage, but the lines are thick now. So if you see like that, you could normally dash like that and avoid them. I want her to do, here we go. See how I did a double dash and I still got tagged for 9 damage there? Their hitbox lingers the entire time they're on the screen, so it's more in your interest to literally just not be in the way of the lines. But everything else that they do, you can pretty much... you can just walk through. If she's not shooting out waves, you can just walk past that. So she's going to do this again. I want to find a spot that I can hide. I'm going to come over here to this side. Or, if you've been listening, you could use some slime. Slime's a good way to cheese this. No, I messed up. I'm getting ahead of myself. Do it again, lady. Do it again so I can show off Slime being a baller. Come on, I know you want to do it. Yeah, she loves spamming this attack. Slime! Damn it, I killed her with him. Look at him do his little jiggly dance. Oh, dude, no, he's Fortnite dancing on her. Don't do it. The disrespect. The disrespect. Doesn't matter. Okay, fine. Slime. I can't believe how fast that first sister died. I wanted to talk about him a little bit more, but it's fine, I guess. Okay, what do we have over here? We've got... I was about to say Clone Stamp could be disgusting. Another Shadow Knights. Dude, we have to stop meeting like this. This is crazy. It feels like it was only like 10 minutes since we last met. It's probably been like 15 to 20. I'm sorry about the length of the video. It's difficult to try and like over-explain things and do the run normally. So Hunter's Boots isn't really doing much for us at all. I could get rid of Hunter's Boots for the Clone Stamp and get easy access to 2 duel. This also means if I decide to do Collection Desire, wink wink nudge nudge, if you remember what Collection Desire was, we'll get access to another inscription that we can use. So I'm going to take it. We're going to get rid of the Masterpiece and chase Hunter's Boots. Clone Stamp in general is also just a very good item. 40% damage, 30 more max life. Those 2 effects alone would make this a very good item. But the fact that you will always get duplicates of the same inscription on it, very good. Like, if you find one with, like, double courage, double wisdom, double revenge, oh, it's a one-and-done item, dude. Very, very good. We're back in here, so let's take a look. We have 2 new curses. We have the Skull of Confusion effect. I'm not going to be using this. It's fun, though. To be fair, it's fun if you want to use this. So, damage dealt to enemies through a swapping skill. This means that some skulls, like, for example, Bomber, very, very good. Water Skull, pretty decent. Pike, very, very good. Anyone who has a good damaging effect on their swap, this is really good for, because you'll get a 45% damage amp on it. However, after you swap in, your left and right is inverted, so right becomes left and left becomes right for 2 seconds. Needless to say, shenanigans. It can create some really stupid situations when you run towards an enemy, and you're like, and swap, and then you just immediately start going in the wrong direction. Very funny. Paranoia, I'll let you read that, dude. If I read all of these cursed effects, it's going to take forever. Just know that a lot of them are really interesting, but also have pretty good double-edged sword effects. Now, I don't have enough for Collection Desire, because I forget that at Dark Mode 0, you're not going to get a lot of Dark Hearts. At level 10 difficulty, there is literally a purple dark heart-infused enemy in like every single room. So you will end up with a lot of Dark Hearts. And that's the point. The game wants you at difficulty like, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to have a lot of hearts to pump up these abilities because you're going to need them. At difficulty 0, the game is kind of like, give him like 2 dudes in an entire area. And you'll have to be very reserved with what you can purchase here for the dark abilities. So I want to get Collection Desire. I can't afford it, so I'm not going to buy anything just yet. I can't even upgrade Silent Cries because I need 4. So I'm just going to walk away and not worry about it for now. And hopefully we'll get 2 more, and then I'll have 4, and I can buy Collection Desire, and then I can get 2 more in the 4th area, and then that means I still can't upgrade Silent Cries. I'm screwed. But you know what? I'm not screwed. I can purchase my Legendary. I've done, what, 4 of the secret boss things now, I think? I know where 2 more... I think that's it, right? There's only 6? I remember where 2 more are. We should be okay. There's 1 in this area, and there's 1 in the last area. So let's go and get some more bone rooms. Our boy is fully upgraded to Legendary. He's going to do all of the damage forever. Milkshake Man! Damn it, I killed him too quickly. Milkshake Man is a new dude. There he is. He jiggled the milkshakes. And he tosses them. Don't get hit by the goo. The goo is nasty. The goo is bad. I'm gonna get hit by the goo on purpose. Throw the goo. Ah, ew, the goo hit me. He's also got a love heart over his head. We love Milkshake Man. Milkshake Man is cool. You're not a new enemy. You're a normal dude. Die. Scum. Now, there are certain rooms where if you complete the rooms appropriately and you do not trigger the extra enemies, you can just leave the room. If I fell down the bottom of this room, extra enemies would spawn. You don't need to fight them. In fact, if you get to the end of the room and you interact with your reward, they won't spawn at all anymore. So it doesn't matter if I drop down here and get hurt by this trap. They simply will not spawn. But if you come down here before the end of the room, enemies are going to spawn. And you have to deal with them. But thankfully, we don't have to. I could take Alchemist, dude. Alchemist with the Neurolepsis Flask would be kinda cool. He's also got a pretty good swap. I worry though, he's too strong. I don't really want the run to be over too early. Okay, so regular summoners down here. These are normal dudes. They'll summon, you know, an annoying golem enemy. We know that. And then there's a big slimy boy up the top here. Big slime is not that much of an issue. He spits goo. Ew! Look at him spitting goo. I want to kill the golem, but I don't want to kill this big slime just yet. There's another golem at the top being annoying. Okay, whip guy. Whip guy whips you. If he whips an enemy, they become enraged. See how he's all red and angry? He's all red and angry. Don't get whipped by whip guy, and if he whips enemies, they just become stronger. Now, did you die? Oh, he died. So he's gonna explode into two more little goos. If they jump on you, they'll do some damage. They also explode and leave some of Milkshake Man's goo on the ground. They break down till there's little guys, and then when you break the little guys, they're gone. They're cute little fellas. How could you hate them? Look at them. They're so cute and just little fella. Let's talk to the halfling girl and get some goodies. I'm sorry I'm not using Water Boy more, but he will literally just kill enemies too quickly so that I can't really show off what they do. I'm trying to over-explain this, and I'm overkilling before I can over-explain. Okay, so we've got a cool approaching death legendary, but we don't want it because it's not really... I mean, it's a good item. Just having amplified damage against poison dudes is good for anyone, but I'm still not buying it. Mutant and Chase, we could buy some more max life though. Why not? I'll take that. I'll take that for $1. Now, what are we looking at in our build? What do we need to do for our build? Our quintessence we're happy with. We've got 4 wisdom, we've got 4 artifact. That's very, very strong. We've got 2 revenge, 2 I think we're done. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at my build on the left and I'm like, damn, this will be a really good build even for a Darkness 10 run, man. Oh my god, our build is really nice. Even if it doesn't look like it. Now, people would normally look at things like the Rejuvenating Root and go, what do you mean it's nice? This item sucks. Revenge, Mutant. Alright? Mutant is nice. 35% cooldown speed for swapping is just good. But the Revenge, it's nice, dude. It's really nice. If you don't believe me, go check out that Ghoul run I was telling you about. I'm going to put it in the description down below. Check that one out and find out why it's amazing. I'll go into more detail on that run as to why Revenge is just disgusting. But I think I want to replace the Abyssal Virus with something else. I could preferably try and keep Artifact, or I could take out of Treasure, because I do need to get rid of this Kylan Insignia soon. It's not scaling that well anymore. So I could get rid of Treasure and keep Artifact that way. Let's roll a little bit and see. That's arms. We don't need arms. That's a physical boy boost. We don't really need any of these. I can afford one more roll while still affording the items it provides. Thank you for the Forbidden Sword on a build that I don't need it on. You bastard. This. It's a random item. Do you want to play around with the lottery? 679 gold to see what's inside. Let's see what's inside. Victory Baton is actually nice. Wow, this is actually a good item. I was about to say normally be very careful because depending on how much money you spend, you won't always get an item of equal value back. It might be a common item that doesn't sell for that much and it's kind of poopy. You're playing the lottery, but you might get a legendary item, and even if you don't want it, it's worth more money than you spent, so it's, you know, still a positive, but sometimes you just get something you want, like Victory Baton. So if we swap, we get a big, fat 85% magic damage boost and a movement speed boost. And if we beat an enemy, it resets the duration, so we can just keep swapping back and forth and doing big, fat damage. We have Mutant and Execute on the board, except Execute's coming from Abyssal Virus, so I'd have to get rid of something. Is there anything else we want to get rid of? We could get rid of the Kylan Insignia, like I just said. That way we get access to 2 and Execute. and 2 in Mutant. This is a very potent build all of a sudden. If I sell my insignia, do I now have enough money to change? I do have enough money to change it. So what do we want to lock in? What should we lock in for our next inscription? We have our 4 Wisdom. Don't need to worry about that. It's already locked in. We have 2 Execute. Locking in a 3rd one won't get me to 4, but if I find a 3rd Execute, I'll consider it. Mutant is at 2. I could lock in Mutant and get 3 Mutant so that our swap-in skill does more damage. That's pretty potent. Very good. I could lock in a 2nd Bone to get its effect. Also pretty good. Very nice. We could lock in Hidden Blade for a damage increase. Very, very nice. And the other ones are all kind of sitting pretty. If I wanted to worry about Collection Desire, I should be boosting one of the ones that's only got a 1 in it. So Bone or Hidden Blade preferably, because I don't want to lock in Treasure or Spoils. The others are more dependent on if I could find an item that will help me get to their level 4 tiers. So I've got 2 Revenge. I need to get at least 1 more item to get to 3, and then I can lock in the 4th one here. For now, what we'll do is probably lock in... What did I say I was going to do? It's either going to be Hidden Blade, Bone, probably Hidden Blade, to be honest. Actually, no. In order for Victory Baton to get these really powerful swapping effects, I should lock in Bone. There we go. Because that's going to boost how often we can swap. And if we swap more often, that just means Victory Baton's effect stays active, just in case we don't manage to kill an enemy in time, like on, for example, boss fights. We won't be killing enemies super frequently. My god. My god. Okay. Water Skull a bit crazy. Water Skull, for those who don't know, is one of the strongest skulls in the entire game. One of the best magic boys, especially depending on how you build him. He's kind of nuts. Can I even afford this? How much are you charging me, guy? 560? I can't afford your services. I'm sorry. Maybe after this I can. The Bone of Time? The Bone of Time is very good for our bone build. It would mean I'd have to keep my bone locked in, but I'm not fussed on it. At this point, I don't really need to care. Let's break something. I can afford your services now. I paid 560. Hey, look at that. I get my money back. It's fine. We don't mind. Drop down here and immediately nuke these. No, don't nuke these dudes just yet. We have special enemies. Right, kill these guys. I don't need summons. Stop. Good. Milkshake Man, go away. Okay, I need to show you. I need to better show you. Stop! There's enemies everywhere. Okay, so this little guy over here has Divine Power. What does Divine Power do? It just means that periodically... Do it. Do it. Do it. Is this not the one I think it is? Why is it not happening? He's meant to shoot a lightning bolt at me, right? Or is that... No, that's Judgment. What's Divine Power do? I think it just makes him better. Yeah, he's bigger. He's bigger than normal. So you can see he's faster. And he's taller. And he should do more damage. But, you know. Do you think we care about that? He is still, at the end of the day, a common soldier. So, you know. Maybe if you were a divine boosted big boy. Sure, but no. Kill the slimes. Kill that guy. Right, big man. He shoulder tackles at you. He's basically just the bigger, scarier version of the other big knights you've come to know. He'll do a big slam on the ground. It doesn't just shoot out a shockwave now. It also shoots... It just hits all around him. So even if you're avoiding the hammer, you might still get hit by a shockwave. After he dies, he hulks out. He starts slamming the ground, and then he'll tackle towards you and blow up. I recommend just getting out of there and running away. Don't deal with it. If you have to deal with it, hang back, wait for him to charge towards you, and then trade dash behind him as he charges towards you. That'll avoid the tackle and the explosion. Look at the big slimy fella. Isn't he cute? Isn't he adorable? We love him. He can be annoying sometimes, though. Like when they start jumping all over the place and getting in the way. Die. I see the water hitting you. Die. Good. Once again, gold bars. Don't worry about it. They'll break automatically. Adventurer fight. Who's the guy? Ninja is lending his power to the sigil. So now, Ninja Boy... Oh, you can see he just did his little slash across the screen. He'll do slashes across the screen. He'll even try and do shuriken attacks. He's very annoying, alright? I'll just say, Ninja Dude, when he lends himself to the sigil at the top of the screen, he's a pain in the ass. Doing a slash. There he is doing a slash. Maybe he won't do his second one on a lower difficulty. Maybe that's the gimmick. But he can do his shurikens that he throws across the screen. He'll do that. It's annoying. We all know it's annoying at this point. We want... I don't care, dude. I don't care. I now just need you dead. There you go. There you go. One left. Is Ninja Boy gonna do a new cool thing, or are the water waves gonna kill this lady for me? Oh dear, you are very injured, lady. She... Bonk. Little headbutt for you. Loot the ladies. Get some healing thanks to these potions. And we get some stuff. We've got Bomber over here. We've got Wraith, Execution Axe. As I've said before, we want to prioritize bones as much as we can. Because, as you've noticed from the run, I find that putting a build together is still very potent and very easy to do with the shop and with the post-boss rewards, with the different pillars that you can gradually unlock. Even if you don't have the extra pillars, the shop and the bosses and regular rooms can more often than not give you access to more items and more gold. Bones are a little bit more difficult to come by, right? A little bit more difficult to come by. Meanwhile, bone pillars, once you get access to Arachne's pillars over here, it's very good to do this, dude. It's very good to do this. So we've already upgraded Waterboy to Legendary. So if we wanted to, we could be using our extra bones for a second skull. I'm just going to keep Little Skull for the rest of the run so I can show you the pillars. So hang on. My max life is 215. Let's invest. 15 fragments, one little pile right there, 225. Let's invest some more. 15 more. 15 more. Look at that. We've got 245 max life. This can stack up to 10 times for a total of 100 extra health. Same thing over here. 100% more damage and, you know, 100% more attack speed and skill cooldown speed, which is very potent if depending on what kind of build you're doing. But you can build these up and get very, very beefy if you're worried about taking too much damage. Go for it. If you're worried about not doing enough damage, go for it. We have a very special orb right here. All we have to do to get our little hint is to sit here and, oh, if you wait long enough, oh, that's a hint. Where have we seen this before? What does this look like? We will keep this in mind. We will keep this in mind. Water, water everywhere and everybody dies. Water, water everywhere, everybody dies. Big man's trying to charge. Ah, explosions everywhere. It's over. Forget about it. Moving on. They died. He's gonna slam the ground at me. Don't do it. Oh, look at these dudes thinking that they matter. Look at them try. Look at these try guys over here. Let me get out. Let me get out. Let me get out. I don't want to be there anymore. I'm sorry. I made fun of him and he's mad at me. Little goo dropping on me. Don't drop on me, goo. My goodness, die. Legendary. The Unknown King. Why you shouldn't have. I could use him instead of Skull, but I'm not gonna. Because I want his bone fragments. So I'm gonna let him be destroyed. Look at that. Automatically destroyed. Didn't have to break him manually. Oh, very good, right? What's up here? This pendant again? Go away. Go away. Stop being annoying. Okay, so Mana Gauntlets is pretty decent as an item if your skull attacks quickly. Not worried about it right now. Don't worry about any of these. You can buy healing, so if you are low on health, this pedestal can sometimes, depending on if you're lucky or not, it can give you some extra healing. I never really worry about this because I find if you're hurt enough, the food over here is just arguably better. But maybe you just want to spend a little bit of money and you only need a little bit of healing. Personally, I never really worry too much about it. The armor over here, the clovers that give you a bit of shielding, they're pretty okay, though. They're pretty okay, depending on how much they cost. Sometimes they're a bit expensive, though. Don't care too much about those. I could afford one more reroll. I say that because I know if I was going to get a new item, I'd have to sell something, and even my most common of common items will sell for 350, which will make up the difference between me getting a new item here or not. That's how I calculate my expenses. I've done this for too long. I'm gonna buy some extra max life and we're gonna move on. Yay! Item room. We love item room. We never get to do item room very much because I take skull rooms all the time. Milkshake Man. Oh no, we killed Milkshake Man. It's a travesty. Oh dude, he's the guy. He's got Cannoneer. So Cannoneer just means he's got a little cannon behind him. Look at his little cannon back there. That little cannon's gonna shoot at me, but there we go. My meteors are destroying his cannon, but yep, that's it. He has a cannon. He has a cannon. That's it. Once he dies, if your dark version of an enemy is one like the slimes, or it's a special enemy that breaks into multiple enemies, it's only that version, so the little guys don't become dark versions, alright? It's fine. Die, 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 die. Annoying alchemist enemies. Almost jumped into spikes. Omen chest. You'll always know it's an omen chest because there's little black cats and crows all over the place, and the chest clearly looks like it's come out of Satan's asshole. It's fine. We have more omen items, but you know, it's not always a bad thing because sometimes they just sell for more money, but considering that they sell for the same amount as a unique item, it no longer matters. We can just leave the room and it doesn't matter what it automatically sells, we get the same money. I'm gonna send water everywhere. I'm gonna swap into Little Skull and do some bone shenanigans. Up, more water. Whoops. Then, of course, we automatically bone back into Skull because I double tap my swap button sometimes. There we go. Water, water everywhere. Big man gonna charge me. Gonna water wave him. He dies. We leave. He tagged me. I got tagged. Blow up. Now, once all the enemies for a certain floor of this room are dead, the traps deactivate. So once all the slimes up top die, traps deactivate up there. Once all the little dog dudes down the middle die, deactivates. Bottom floor all get killed, deactivates. So if you want to get the traps to shut the hell up and leave you alone sooner than later, kill the enemies. Alright! It's Chimera time! Chimera changes a little bit in this fight, but to be completely honest with you, the changes to Chimera are the kind of changes that I've completely forgotten about. So if you notice changes to this fight, great. But I'm just going to tell you about the whole fight, basically, as the fight goes on. Roar! We get pushed back! What are you going to do? Gonna summon dudes from the sky, so this does happen in normal mode. You'll just get regular enemies that Chimera will summon because she's annoying. I believe the goo might change, so on hard mode, there's the pillars of goo, and then afterwards there's a final big downpour right there. These balls come down, they splash, and then little balls come out. I think the little balls are new. Certainly the balls... Okay, certainly there's too many balls on screen right now. That can't be normal mode. Shooting out 2 balls instead of just 1. More goons. More hired goons. Splash, splash, splash. I like to jump up and then dodge through, because if they splash on the ground, those splashes can hurt you. I think I need to get to phase 2. Oh yeah, the stomps. So the steppies that she's doing on the ground, leaving the purple goo on this goo will hurt you. There's the bite. So I always recommend to stand like under her chin. If you stand too close, she might step on you. If you stand about, you know, here-ish, you're pretty much safe to the stomps, and you're more or less safe to the, the goo, and you can react to the bite a bit quicker. Final downpour. Just get ready to move for the last set. There we go. Look at that. Simple. Bite. Alright, let's push it to phase 2. Let's push it to phase 2. There we go. She's at half health. She should phase 2 in a second. There we go. She's going to stomp. Just jump up and dash into her. Stay in the front. Poison. Dash through the poison. Look at that. And then right when she goes to step, double jump up, dash forward. Bam! Look at that. Look at that. Amazing. Go back and play that in slow-mo if you want to see. That's how you avoid that. Not consistently, but you'll avoid almost all of the damage if you get, you know, good timing for it. Sit under her chin. Oh, she's doing... No, don't sit under her chin. She's stopping me. She heard me. Once again, slime! Look! I can ignore everything because I have slime on my side. I'm not using slime because it'd be too easy to do that. Can I get you to do your phase 2 attack again, please? Please. Please. I want to show... Yay! Get ready. Jump up. Dash in. Stay in the front. Double dash through the poison. Poison will probably kill most enemies. If it doesn't matter. Double jump up. Dash forward. Yay! We did it! We did it! Die. That's mostly it. The enemies getting summoned are irritating. The slime from the sky. Like, this fight's one of those fights for some people. It's like the inverse of the Sisters. For some people, the Sisters is an easy fight. For some people, the Chimera is the hard fight. I've never really spoken to anyone who thinks that both fights are particularly difficult. It's really... Depends on what kind of brain you've got by the sounds of it. For some people, the Sisters are like, oh my god, I cannot beat these Sisters. They are the worst. For other people, it's like, dude, the Chimera, there's shit everywhere. What do I do? Oh my god, there's poison from the sky, there's poison from the ground, there's dudes all over the screen, there's stomping, there's biting, there's stepping. I can't handle this. It doesn't matter. Whoever you talk to, someone's gonna hate one of these fights more than the others. We didn't really get anything especially useful. I'm glad that Shadow Knights didn't show up again, but we did get the other 2 big legendary quintessences. Swanee, Swanee's very important for our channel. We love Swanee. I'm just going to destroy her for some max life increase. Now, moving forward, we jump down into the bottom. Of course, me being me, I forget that we have to come in here and deal with our dark abilities. Now, we have 4. Yay! We killed 2 more of them in the middle of that third area. So now if I want, I could get Silent Cries. But more importantly, instead of just getting an extra, what is it, an extra 10% from 20 to 30% increase on those cooldowns, let's get Collection Desire. Bam. We have the 1 left. If I do the last area, we'll get 2, so I'll end up with 3. We won't be able to finish up Silent Cries, but I don't know. Maybe I'll buy Weakness Exposure at that point. But the important part is we now have Collection Desire, and what Collection Desire does, as I said before, it'll give us 25% more damage for every inscription that has at least 2 or more in possession. So if we start from Revenge, Mutant, Execute, Dual, Artifact, Bone, and Wisdom are all at least 2 or more. At 25% more, we have 7 of them. That means that we're going to get to 175% more damage. Our total damage at magic and physical is looking pretty nice for the magical side of things. It's not as big as it could be, but some of our effects, like for example the baton, are only going to activate under certain circumstances. Same with the ceremonial dagger. So if I swap and we get that little bit of a boost, it goes up to 726. The 4 wisdom is going to make that much bigger, by the way, which is why things are dying really quickly, despite the fact that it may not seem like we have big numbers. We actually have pretty nice numbers. Now, what we can also do is pump up the bone pillars a little bit more. I'll do some more of the damage ones. How about that? There we go. Pump up the bone pillars. Normally, in a normal run... Oh, I almost forgot. We jump down here because this looks familiar. The little vision that we saw was telling us about the bottom of the Chimera pit. If we come to the left... Ah, it's another one. Wow, look at that. I almost walked away in the middle of just talking. By the time I get to here in like a 10 run, I preferably want to have at least... I don't know, 6 or 7 in each pillar, or have at least, you know, more bone shenanigans going. I haven't been as lucky on the bone side of things, but we don't really need it. The run is pretty strong and pretty potent either way. It's also a good way of showing off that Little Skull works very well as your dominant if you want to use him instead. These NPCs here, they just talk about stuff. They give some hints as to the secret boss hidden things here and there. They don't do too much else. You can talk to them and, you know, mess around with them if you want. No! How about no? Don't do that! Die. Oh. Some guy's bombing us from the sky. Talk to the old man. Give me a bone. Wah. Thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. That was very worth it. Very good, dude. Very, very good. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, unless I'm mistaken... That dude over there, he has fireworks. This is definitely a new guy for the Dark Mirror mode. So he's pretty normal. Like you'll only really find this guy annoying when you're not actively fighting him, because he does just fire them at you from full screen wherever he's hiding, and you have to find him and kill him. But once you do find him, he doesn't do anything else. He just lights fireworks and rains fireballs down on top of you. That's all he does. These big cross dudes slam the ground. They'll keep slamming in the one direction they're moving in, so all you have to do is dodge past them or jump over them and then hit them from behind. Is this... No, so he doesn't show up just yet. I may have to do another one of these, or I mean, what you could do is just see any of my Dark 10 runs or anything else in between. There are other enemies that aren't spawning in Dark 0. Like, it gets pretty crazy with how many new enemies show up between Dark 0 and Dark 5 and 6. Because there are whole other enemies that aren't in this place. Big rock thrower dudes. They literally just throw a big boulder. It's just a wall. You can't go past them, so you have to, like, kill them or kill all the enemies in the way first. That's it. They're not, you know, dramatically annoying enemies or anything. Like I said, Dark Mode 0, when you first start, it's not crazy difficult. It's actually quite manageable. It's just there are new enemies. This is a rare... I might just take and sell this dude, to be honest. Because I'm not going to find anything better, so we just take it and swap it around. I'm going to leave it there. Don't sell this immediately if you don't want it, because if you have an item in the shop and you destroy it, it can show up again in the overall item pool. So if I do some rerolls down here in the shop, I might just find this damn statue again, which means it's going to waste a potential other item that could have shown up instead. Just for the sake of funnies, I'll destroy it, and we'll see if it actually shows up. There seems to be like a weird... I don't want to say a high chance, but there is a bit of a chance that they can show up. Now, we have a new wisdom item here, which means if I wanted to, I could take out a 4 wisdom, and I could take this, and then we could lock something else in. So I want to keep that. I really want to keep that. Want to keep that. Keeping that. It's very useful. It's a very handy item. Keep. Obviously keep. I do like it. I would argue that maybe the root shouldn't need to stay and we can just lock in revenge afterwards. We might do that. So we buy this and we're going to lose our 2 in revenge, but we now have 5 in wisdom. We don't need 5 in wisdom and we want to get that revenge back. So now we take this and ooh, we need to sell this. Do I have enough money? Just barely. Okay, good. I almost made a boo-boo. And we lock in our 2 revenge. So now, we replace the rejuvenating root and we have 35% more magic attack. As a result, we still keep our revenge. All we got rid of was the main effect that the root had. We did have 2 in mutant, but now we have 1 in mutant. It's whatever. I mean, we technically lost the collection desires bonus for having 2 mutant, but we gained 35% magic, so we gained more damage technically while getting rid of the root. It's a little bit of back and forth. For some people, it's not worth doing. For me, it's just something cute that I can get away with. Now, we continue. Boing, boing. Kill all these guys. He's the guy! He's got plate armor! I think that some of the more nasty or annoying dark effects that can spawn on these guys only show up in higher difficulties as well. So don't be surprised if, as you're playing, you come across some especially annoying dark ability types that these dark infused enemies can have. That's it. There should be more dudes back to the left of me, right? Unless they just don't spawn. I guess they're not spawning. How about that? Waves. Do this. Come and cleanse. I don't think I had any effect on me anyway. I didn't have any debuffs. Boing. Get some, dudes. Nope. 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 Damn, dude, the waves are just killing them. Okay. Destroy that guy. Destroy those guys. We're popping off. If I sit in here and I attack on the water a little bit. Oh no, the waves are doing it all. Yep. And everything's dead. Look at Water Skull just be an insane lord of the kill, man. Die. There. Yeah, we're looking pretty good on the damage side of things. Ooh, Raven Monarch's Feather. Very, very strong item for a swapping build. Plus having 1 in Heritage is pretty nice for the extra cooldown on Slime. Not that we really need it. But we are swapping pretty semi-consistently at least, and Bone makes it a bit easier to do big damage with it. So what would I ditch if... I need to get rid of the Abyssal Virus at some point, but it does suck because we will lose the 4 in Artifact and the 2 in Execute, but we will gain 1 more in Mutant. The 2 Mutant doesn't do anything necessarily, but it does compensate for Collection Desire because we lose 2 in Execute, but we gain 2 in Mutant. It doesn't do anything extra for our Inscription, but we get the extra damage back. We do lose the 4 Artifact effect for the Meteors, but I would argue that getting a Essence cooldown speed increase as well as the actual effect that Raven's Feather gives us is better, because the virus effect is not going to scale as well at the end game. It's just as an item it won't do as well. So losing Execute does suck, because Execute as an inscription is very nice. It's one of the better inscriptions for doing damage, but I'm willing to compromise on this one. I'm willing to say I want the Raven's Feather. Hello, lady. The level 4 cleric fight. That's okay. An easy battle. Starts off aggressive, the way that we expect. She runs away. What a coward. Do a couple of quick swapperoos. She's gonna drop... Damn! We destroyed that... the wall that she put up just got broken. Try and... Ow. I was gonna say, try and avoid those light rays, but she's gonna be a big meanie. Look at the bone swaps, man. Lots of very potent swaps. Raven's Feather being very, very good to us. Down she goes. And... nah. I want more bones, please. Bony, bony bones. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. I just realized. No, go back. I missed it. The last one is back in that room. Okay. I was going to show you after I killed, but I got too caught up. The last of the hidden secret boss little collectible Easter eggs in that adventurer room, there's a gap that you can fall down between the statue at the start and where the boss fight takes place. Fall down that gap and fall to the right. Just hold right and just fall down that hole and you'll find it. I'm an idiot. I may or may not go back and just show you me falling down that hole later. So if you want to see for sure, I'll try and remind myself. Hang on, I'm going to pull open my notepad and write into my notepad right now. Fourth adventurer fight, show the hole. That's what I'm going to write. All right, let's get some more max life in the build. And maybe a bit more let's get some more damage. Let's get some more damage. Let's max out this pillar. How about that? We've got a lot of bone fragments. So eventually, once you reach 10 out of 10, it won't let you put any more in. And our overall damage is looking pretty nice. And let's get some more max life. There we go. We're nice and juicy. We're thick. So this is why I say that bone fragments are really, really, really worth your while, because not only do you need them for upgrading your skull, but you also need them once you unlock the Arachne bone pillars to get extra stats. And they are very, very useful to you. That's why in the shop, you have the option of buying the buff drugs and the max life booster items, because they're basically doing the same thing. They're giving you an option to get more damage and power at the cost of money that isn't necessarily items. The bone pillars are doing the same thing. But I would argue it's easier to get money, because you get a little bit of money from killing enemies, you get a little bit of money from certain rooms, certain special things, just breaking items you don't want. Getting bone fragments is a little bit more difficult by design. He's here! Ah, oh, dude! I thought you wouldn't show up here. Okay, I need to show you the Demon Hunter guy. This is gonna be your biggest nightmare coming into hard mode when you start fighting this guy more consistently. He's a very annoying, tough opponent. Drop trap, he'll dash at you. Just go behind him. The advice I give you is whenever he rushes at you, just dash behind him. Just go forward. As I'm doing right here, right? Don't step on his traps. If you step on a trap, it triggers on you and he will slam you. That's just what he does. You can even walk past him if you're fast enough. Now, if you're standing on him, chances are he might do a crossbow shot. It's an annoying attack. He doesn't like you being in his face. As you can see, he might drop a trap and then he's going to do crossbows. Something else that he can do that he's not doing now, because he's being annoying, is if he does crossbows, there we go. If he does crossbows and you dodge through the crossbow attack, if he's already in the air, he might slam the ground. So you've just dodged under the bolts, and then he'll land on you. He's very, very mean for new players. He specifically fights in a way that's very anti-player. He knows what you want to do, and he's going to get in the way of that. I recommend doing the strategy of let him run towards you, bait him. So stand at a distance, wait for him to dash, move past him, smack him in the back, and then repeat. Just do that until he's dead. Much easier. Don't engage him. When he jumps back and shoots his crossbows at you, he wants you to come forward. He's baiting you. Mr. Big Guts looking son of a bitch. He wants that. A third Shadow Knights. Luck is kind of crazy in this run, isn't it? Kind of wild. Now, is there anything else I wanted to do in here before I start spending money on things? I think we're pretty good. I like how the inscription machines are set up. I like how everything else here is set up. If I don't find anything else worthwhile, I will buy and destroy Shadow Knights just to get that extra max life. Ah, these are what give you skulls. So we can buy this and destroy it, or buy it and swap around just in order to get more bone fragments. It'll have a random skull inside. It can be any rarity of whatever type it shows. So the green one's for speed, blue for balance, and red for power. We have found Little Boy Pike. Now, something that I know for a fact is that the officer over here is rare. Pike is common. If I destroy Pike, I only get 10 fragments. So what I'm going to do is a little switcheroo. I pick up Pike, I give him to Headless, I get the officer, I go back to my little skull because I want to keep him, and now I can destroy the officer for 11 fragments instead of just Pike for 5. It's a nice little way to get some more out of it. Now, remember what I said? You can walk out of the room and these will be destroyed automatically. You can break them on your own, but if you want to walk away, my 310 max life is 325. Kill these guys before they can summon enemies. I'm going to set up some waves. Some Wavu. Perish. Lot of damage. Lot of damage coming out. Be gone. Not talking to NPCs, don't care about them. I'm rude like that. We have a plate armor guy over here being annoying. See how he doesn't take a lot of damage from the waves, but as soon as the waves break, now he takes some real damage. His stupid little armor. He just slams. He just picks a direction and goes for it. Just get behind him. Get behind him and he falls apart. No, don't. Waves. And of course you got this guy doing what he always does. Little archer dude jumping at me. You might notice Beelz get a little bit lazy with the dodging at this point because I feel indestructible. Yeah, we'll sell the one that goes for the most money because nothing else there is that important to me. Moving on. I think I get a bone swap here, don't I? So if I swap once, couple of attacks, swap again. Big damage. Big damage. Need to break this so that little fella stops being annoying. Forget you, dude. Oh, it's another one. He's going to dash at me. I went too far forward and got hit by that. Nah, I'm going to stand back. I'm going to do what I told you to do. We bait him. Then he dies to the wave, but okay, fair enough. Don't move too far forward. If you want to be safe, wait until he finishes doing his 2 slashes. I tried to attack him too quickly because I get a little bit lazy with the dodges. Mostly because I feel pretty, you know, comfy that we're not going to have too many issues. Now, weird little thing that some people may not be aware of that isn't mentioned nearly enough. In this final act, certain enemies, when they hit you, they will debuff you. Down the bottom, you'll see a 5 stack on what looks like a holy cross, little yellow icon down there. That is actually making me take a % more damage per stack that I have. And these fountains cleanse that effect and make it go away. That's why they're around. That's why if you've ever interacted with them and you have no idea what they're doing, that's because Act 4 is trying to kill you so badly. If enemies hit you, they debuff you so that you take more damage. I mean, I've never really known that stacking effect to be too difficult to manage or to be too, you know, painful in general. But it is a thing that happens. Now, the Joan fight is a weird fight. I literally can't tell you what even changes in this fight. I literally don't know. I'm not sure if anything in particular really changes besides the fact that Joan exists and is here. I'm going to quickly break the 2 pillars. You may not break them as fast as me. I will say, the statues that come stomping across the screen during this first phase, kill those statues if you want to get some health back, because they have a very high chance to drop healing orbs. What is different in this Joan fight? I couldn't tell you, dude. I think some of these attacks have new, like, things in them. Yeah, you just dodge through all of these. Just avoid them. Joan is one of those kind of fights people really don't like to deal with, but if you play it safe, like, I'm going to stand over here. She's going to shoot beams. I got clipped. I should have dodged. Yeah, I'm just going to stand here, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whenever she goes, she's going to summon balls to attack you. I very rarely try and kill her NPC enemies. Oh, these things? Terrible turning arc. Just go over them once. It'll never catch you. Look at that. Teleports to the side of the screen. She's always going to shoot a beam. She normally shoots 2 of them. This is a fight where you can, like, just stand around. Oh, look, she's doing balls from over there. They will never reach me. She did it from too far away. Yeah, Joan's a weird fight. You can chase her and try and attack her when she's away. It's a little bit tedious to do if you're, you know, a skull that can't reach that easily, like a power skull. Otherwise, I just recommend that you wait for her to go to the middle, like here. Purple attack, she can't be hurt during this. If you hit her, she won't take damage. So just find a safe space in between the purple attacks. Yeah, just stand around. Like, I could go down there and try and fight her while she's got all this nonsense in the way. This attack is a little bit annoying if the balls are on the outside, those 3 rotating purple balls, because there's a slight vacuum effect. Just avoid the lasers and stay on the outside. Oh, look, I can move into the middle now and hit her. I kind of don't want to kill her just yet, to be honest, but she's going to die to the waves. No, the homing ball. Yeah, Joan's a weird fight. I recommend the second phase of the Joan fight. Just take it slow. Just stand around. If she's moved away and there's too many dangers everywhere, just stand somewhere. Just avoid the attacks. Just bounce around a little bit. Just move around. Don't worry too much about it. I think people might get a little bit too anxious, and I don't mean overthink, but they get very concerned, and they're like, I gotta move, I gotta get, this pillar's on fire, there's a ball over here, oh my god, there's lasers all over the screen, Don't worry too much about it, right? There's not that many attacks that are that annoying. Like I said, homing ball, go over it once. It has a terrible turning arc. It turns like a tank. Well, it wishes it turned like a tank. Actually, tanks turn pretty well. Ignore that. It turns like me on my bicycle when I was 6 years old when I used to fall off of it. That's how badly it turns. The Archbishop's Scriptures is a pretty cool item to replace the basic Carlean staff. The beam that it summons is pretty good. It's a wisdom item, so we're not losing any wisdom. Replace the common boy thing. And we're moving on. Boop, 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 boop. Come in here for our last dip in with this fella. Hello, guy. I can't buy my last Silent Cries. We have Weakling, which was the one that we saw at the start. Supernatural is actually pretty good for an Orc build. This makes the cooldown of your Quintessence take 80% longer. It decreases how quickly it comes off cooldown. But whenever you activate your Quintessence, you'll get a 40% damage amp. But you also can't do damage with your Quint. So Quintessences that specifically do damage, like Swanezio, Shadow Knights, the Mecha Fist, Centaurus, all the ones that actually do damage, you will no longer do damage with them. But ones where you activate them, and maybe ones that don't matter too much about damage, like Medusa. Medusa does do damage, but really the stun is the good part. Or Succubus, she does a bit of damage, but the fact that enemies can't hurt you for 3 seconds is the good part. You could arguably take those and still take Supernatural, because even if you don't do damage with the Quintessence anymore, you will get a 40% damage amp for 10 seconds, and that's a pretty good trade more often than not. The downside is you can't use the Quintessence nearly as often. That's almost a 100% speed decrease, which almost means double the cooldown. But if you get some good effects, like I should have them on me right now, actually. Heritage, that increases the speed by 45%. Ancient Incense Burner has a 65% cooldown increase for them as well, so you can counterbalance this a little bit. A 40% amp is nothing to sneeze at. But, seeing as how I only have 3 points left to go, I'm going to buy what I would suggest is one of the better spam ones to get, especially early on, and it's available for you as soon as you start hard mode. Weakness Exposure. Every time you damage an enemy, you can accumulate a mark on the enemy. Accumulate 3 marks, the marks will get consumed and will do damage to the enemy based on how much damage you do based on, your physical and magical attack. Skulls like Little Bone Boy, who hits very rapidly with his smacks and his abilities. The light beam we've got going on. Water Skull with his waves. Each time a wave hits them, it counts. So skulls that can do a lot of consistent little hits here and there can build up weakness exposure very quickly, and you'll see that just getting consumed again and again and again and again really quickly and cause a lot of mayhem. The last time we'll see Arachne, let's just pump these in. Boom, boom, boom. We'll add some extra to the cooldown and speed one. That's fine. We didn't max those pillars out. Don't have to. I would say if you can max out 1 pillar in your run, you're looking pretty good. If you can max out 2, that's great. Means you've prioritized bone rooms a lot and you've maybe found some NPCs to give you extra ones. And if you can max out 3 pillars, you found more than 1 legendary skull, didn't you? You got some luck on your side, my guy. Well done. I don't try and mess with these guys. I know they're like slow and simple enemies, but I used to like dick around with them and mess, and whenever I get hit by them, I feel like an idiot. They attack so slow. Alright. Make sure you feed the cat every time you come in. There's no reason for that. Just do it, because otherwise you're a mean person. I know he's a fat cat, but he's hangry, dude. He wants the foods. Now, last room in the for shops. Nothing we can really do about this. How are we looking at the build? I kind of like this. This is pretty good. We're pretty much done. I've got a good Quintessence. I've got good items. My build is looking pretty sexy. My skulls are all good. So what I'm going to look at... That's very good. I'm loving that I get to show this off. So I'd look at normally 2 different things. Well, 3 things. I'd look at this totem, this pillar right here, if you get it, if you're high enough in your hard mode runs. Is there any shielding? Maybe some health boosters, some drug that I could buy? No? Then I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe I buy the Quintessence and break it and get some extra life. I could get some extra health from this. That'd be pretty good. No, I'm not going to worry about that now, though, because instead, the first thing I look at is the food. Now, if the food says that it lasts for 3 maps at this particular shop, we buy it. We restore half-life and increase cooldown speeds by 50%. That means we'll get, a boost to our cooldowns. It's good. We want this. So I buy it. And down at the bottom where my buffs are, it'll show food buff down there, that little pixelated, mess. And it's got the number 4 there. That's because the shop is a special one. Now it'll count from when we go into our first room. Now it's down to 3. The reason we want to buy foods that say specifically 3 rooms is because that's the most rooms that you can get from a food buff. Damn, dude, that beam is just being aggressive, isn't it? And this food buff will last into the hero fight. Yes. 2 rooms or less, and it will fall off before at the, last room coming up here. But if it says 3, it will last into the hero fight. So we'll get that 50% cooldown buff in the dad fight, which is pretty damn nice. We love it. We love getting that effect. It's really, really good. So once again, we leave. We come in here. This is all part of the same room. Normally it would say 1 right now if it had 2 rooms or less. We come into this fight, and now it's going to say 1 room remaining. This is the room. We get that food buff. And sometimes those effects, like a 50% cooldown increase, are really, really potent and strong to have in the hero fight. Now, first phase dad fight is literally exactly the same as normal mode. It doesn't change really at all. So just fight this as you normally would. Dad is, he's a dick at the best of times, so I'm not going to say that he's going to just fall over and be an easy fella. Unless he falls over and acts like an easy fella. Phase 2! This is where it gets new. Now, I'm not going to over-explain Dark Dad. I'm just going to explain as he does things, because Dark Dad has about, 30 to 40 attacks he can do, and it's a really annoying fight to try and teach. But he will always start by doing 3 dives. He will telegraph where he's going to land with that little dark wave across the screen. Just dodge before he lands. Once he's on the ground, he'll normally try and swipe at you with a couple of swings. That's a dive attack. He tried to rush me. He's going to start doing... What's he doing now? He's going to... Alright. I jump away, and then I jump through the second wave. He's going to slam the ground, move out the way before he lands. Hit him a little bit, run away. I highly, highly, highly recommend when you're first learning this fight to do hit and run tactics. Hit him a little bit and then move away, because he has some very fast attacks. This ultimate move, just run across the screen, avoid the lines. It's a bit like the sisters fight in phase 2. It's like a throwback to it. Run away, don't stand there. Because what he does have, and he'll always do this when he gets to low life, I'd say about 45 to 40% max life remaining, he's going to do a suck. He's going to raise his hand in the air. Not yet, because he's being a dick. Don't. Dad. 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 Do the suck. There it is. If he catches you with this, he will do a bunch of damage, and he heals back some of his life. He's now summoning what I call the ball sack. The ball sack is really, really annoying because it pulses damage across the screen. As you can see, there's a wave coming out. Thankfully, my beam just killed it. To avoid... let's pause for a second. Okay, so to avoid that attack where he does the lines across the screen, the best way to do it is right before he jumps. Follow what I was doing. You jump up into the air, and you bait him to try and place the lines in the air, and then you can hide in one of the corners, and you should avoid most of those lines. That attack that he does with that ultimate move is very aggressive and very annoying to deal with, unless you have good mobility or the slime quintessence. Now, I could be using slime to immune through a lot of this. I'm not, specifically because I need to show you how to handle this if you don't have the one quintessence that will make this easy for you. After he does all of that, he does this big bullshit attack across the screen with all these spikes that you can see right now. He will go to the middle of the screen, he will roar, and then it'll be red all over the place, and he drops spikes everywhere. The only way to really deal with this is to double jump up into the air and do 2 dashes. Time them as late as you can, so dash, dash. Don't do dash, dash, do dash, dash. If you have a power skull, you're probably going to get hit. I'm not going to lie, you're probably going to get hit with a power skull. That's why it's best to have either effects that make you immune to being hit once in a while here and there, have slime, have the Warrior's Pauldrons, the Heritage effect, something like that. But, I mean, if you're going to get hit, you could do a swap in the air, and if you have the Witch trait, doing a swap in the air, you'll get a 20 shield by doing a swap, and you can just eat some of the damage that way. It's not the end of the world, but if you're trying to get hitless on Dad, yeah, you might need some of these other effects. Little Skull can double dash in the air, and then throw his head and stall in the air for longer. So he's actually really good to keep for the Dad fight if you don't have any good damage immunities and you want to be mean. He's going to swing. He's going to shoot stuff out and be annoying. Look at all this crap on the screen, dude. He grabbed me. That's a mean attack, by the way. On Dark 10, I'm pausing again, I'm sorry. On Dark 10, that does a ton of damage. He'll do this when he gets low on life. He'll teleport to you and try and grab you. He does a really cool roar and does a ton of damage. That attack will do like 150, 200 damage in Dark 10. It also ignores defense and armor, so even if you've got a ton of defensive items, that one attack will do a ton of damage to you no matter what. It's just mean, dude. Dark Dad is a mean fight, dude. He's a mean fight. On purpose, he's a mean fight. Dash away, dash through it, bait the slam. And then when he's lower on health, when he does this, he will start adding new... Look at all these attacks, dude. All these things on the screen. I'm not kidding when I say he has so many attacks. Oh, he's doing this one again. This was the first ult that he does. Slime. I'm just going to slime. I don't need to, but I'm going to do it. Let me do some of this. Trigger the beam. This is a tricky fight, dude. It's a very, 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 very tricky fight, and I've spent a long time specifically not doing a guide for the dad fight because of how much stuff there is to do. Now, back in the day when the Dark Mirror mode first came out, this was the end of the run. Now, it's no longer the end of the run because the finale to the game was released. So, if you wanted, you could choose to go back to the castle and end your run there. But now, since a few updates ago, about 5-6 months ago, as I'm making this video, we can move on to the final chapter, where we actually get to wrap up the rest of the game and fight the last boss. This is also at the point where you would access the secret boss, and I'll show you where that access point is, but I'm specifically not going to do him because I know there are some people watching this for the first time who may not want spoilers on that. I have shown you where 6 of the special Easter egg things are that you need to find, so if you want to find him and fight him for the first time yourself, go for it. I'm not going to spoil it in this video, but I do have many other videos where I do fight him, so if you want to avoid the spoilers, don't watch all of the more recent videos I've done, because I will fight him in almost every single one of them. As well as, I do have a video out on it's a pseudo guide on how to fight him, so if you want to fight the secret fight and you're a little bit concerned as to how to do it, or you've been trying and you don't really know how to avoid his attacks, I have like a long form fight with him where I kind of just dodge his attacks and go through what he does, and we try and learn what he do. Now, coming into here, when you first enter that room down below, you won't have access to the dwarf guy who will just cannon you up here. You'll have to run through the area for the first time. You don't really do anything. It's cool lore stuff. But ultimately, your goal is to get up here to where the witch is. She's looking a bit worse for wear. You'll get a full heal up here, the potion I just took, so no matter how banged up you got from Dad, you'll get back to full life. And then she will offer you modified and upgraded versions of any inscription that you have maximized. If they're gold, so we have Wisdom 4 and Bone 2, that's the highest tiers that those 2 inscriptions can get. So she will offer upgraded versions. So gain additional effects when activating a bone inscription effect, depending on the bone items you own. I only own 1 bone item, so if I get this special thing, my Bone of Mana will upgrade and will give me new special effects. This is really good if you have multiple bone items. Say you've got, you know, Bone of Mana or the Bone of Time, Bone of Madness. You could do something crazy and take all 3 of the colored bones. So the Mana Bone for magic guys, the Speed Bone for the Speed Bone for green dudes, and the Power Bone for power boys. You could do that if you want. There are plenty of overlaps, so I could take the Bone of Mana and the red Power Bone and get a little bit of bonus thanks to Poseidon if I want to do like a split build with a physical boy. It's kind of weird, but at the very least, having 1 or 2 bone items will help you get this, because you only need 2 bone anyway. Or you could take Modified Wisdom, which will gradually amplify the magic attack by up to 30%, while 4 wisdom effects are in cooldown. That's fine. This is good. It's just damage. We like it. For the sake of doing something a little bit different, I'll take the Modified Bone. So now our Bone of Mana has turned into the Bone of Eternity Mana. So when casting a skill, it creates a mana storm that wraps around ourselves. This is what it normally does. Based on the number of balance type skulls, we'll do more damage. So 1 balanced boy, which we have, it'll do 20% bonus damage. 2 of them, you'll get 60%. That's why you should always have 2 balanced boys when using this bone, but I didn't, and it doesn't matter because at lower difficulty levels, that's not going to make or break the build. Activating a Bone Inscription effect will create a stronger Mana Storm. So we have the regular Mana Storm, and then if we activate our Bone Inscription effect, which triggers after a couple of swaps, bam, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Big Mana Storm. Look at that big swirly boy around us. Very cool. Look at that. And it lasts a long time too. If I do skills, I get the smaller, lighter blue one. Very cool. Very nice. Very nice. Now, moving forward. This room coming up here. This is where your secret boss is. And as you can see, there are 6 little gem slots on the outside. You only ever have to collect those 6 little Easter egg spots once, but in the same run. Once you come here and you dump all 6 of those in, this will remain unlocked constantly.
I went and did all those little Easter egg spots and there was nothing there for me to take because I've already done it. If I want, I could activate this and do the secret fight. I'm not going to do it, but this is where the secret fight can be found. It's a very cool fight. It's a very good, you know, it's an amazing little Easter egg fight, and it has a pretty decent reward at the end of it that will help you with the actual final fight coming up afterwards. But I'm going to skip that for now and just move on and come and tackle the main adversary, Mr. Alexander himself, who by far and away is a lot easier than that secret boss is. I even think Alexander is much easier than the Dad fight. Personally, I think the difficulty goes Dark Dad, and then Secret Fight, and then Alexander. I think Alexander's a bit tougher than Joan, obviously, but not by a lot. He does have 3 phases, though. Phase 1 is irritating. He summons balls everywhere. A little bit like the Chimera. You can quite literally just dodge roll through most of this, or just run through most of this. He just does a lot of things on the screen that aren't necessarily difficult to avoid. Like, whenever he does a glowy around you, just dodge out of the way of it. Oh, look, balls from the sky? I'm not even there, dude. Big ball? I'll dodge through that. Oh, look, a thing on the screen? I'll dodge through that. Just dodge through these. There you go. Just timing. See the ability once or twice, and you'll get the timing. Look, he's just going to stand there. Oh, he's doing beams. He summoned a little bouncy ball, a little ping pong ball, but he's doing beams. Oh, rude. Oh, he's doing an ultimate. He's summoning me into a small space so that he can more easily hit me with his stupid balls. He's taking away my space. Don't take away my space. Oh my god, he might be dead. Oh no, I did too much damage. Stop. Oh dear. I did too much damage. So he'll do a bunch of things, but first phase, Alexander is not the main problem. The problem that most people have with this fight is this phase. This is the phase that everyone will talk about having an issue with, and it's a bit of a complicated phase. There's a lot of stuff he can do. I'm going to swap to Skul because Waterboy is clearly doing too much for us right now. Alright. He's summoning explosive things from the sky. Stay away. You hear the dong? You hear the dong? If you hear the dong sound, he's going to shoot a beam across the screen. You need to dodge just after you hear that dong sound. He puts this on the ground. It's going to pulse little things. Dong? Did you hear it? There it is again. See? It's your warning sign. You'll hear dong. These are sticky bombs. They stick to you. Ow! They blow up. If the sticky bombs stick to you, though, you can... Damn, do a lot of beams. You can dodge. Oh, he's doing the blue and the pink and the red. This attack is very mean. Okay, you want to get out of the way when he puts his hands to the side and you hear that cool, that suck noise. He's going to summon the blue and the red. It is a reference. Digimon, very cool. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. It is a reference. It's very cool. You don't want to be either... Obviously, in the middle of that, it's very bad. But even if you jump out of the way of that attack, the lightning that comes off of it will still damage you. So you need to avoid the damage from the lightning as well. I'm getting hit because I'm being very lazy and I'm trying to talk at the same time. This beam, just avoid the beam. When he shoots this little ball out, you know it's going to pulse damage. So we need to deal with it. 1, 2, 3. You can avoid those 3 spread shots similar to first phase Yggdrasil's by just jumping and avoiding the initial bit. Can I get a good dodge on this? See, you can dodge the sticky if you time the dodge right. So just, yep, there you go. Dodge through it. Just run away and then space it and dodge through. He's doing it again. I'm going to double jump up and come over here. You see that purple lightning that clipped my legs when I came down? That's why. I should actually show you dodging that smart and not bad. There we go. Dodge those. Let's break one of the hands, shall we? I feel like it's time to break a hand. I'll break your hand. Oh, he's going to spit again. Sometimes he'll overlap them, like the beam and the spread shot right there. It is mean. But there are ways to avoid all of it. It's just, if you happen to dodge it incorrectly to start with, like right there, it will clip you. It's a mean fight. Like, this is a mean phase, and it's not meant to be easy. This is arguably one of the better challenges after the Dad fight. But once you've seen it enough, like... This guy doesn't have a lot of attacks that specifically avoid armor, so you can kind of defend your way through it if you've got a lot of defense items, if you've got a lot of revenge items. You can deal with it. See, I prioritized dodging the beam that time because he's doing that a lot. Alright, let's go over this time. I took 40 damage right there because I touched the back of the hitbox. That attack? is the meanest move he can do, by the way, the red and the blue. It's the meanest move he's got, and it will... I'm just going to swap on you, dude. I want you to blow up. It will clip you more often than not because it's just mean. It's a hard fight to deal with. Luckily, there is no hitless boss achievement for this fight because the game isn't so mean as to assume that you're going to do that every time. The point... What is this? Phase 2.5 of the fight? After you break one hand, he will repair his the other hand a little bit. It's like the sisters in that sense. The other hand gets a bit of a heal, and all of his attacks now get a bit stronger. So all the same stuff that he was doing is now happening on double time. His beams go across the screen faster. The really big wave thing that he's shooting across the screen right here is larger, so you have to like jump twice. That's a really big sticky grenade bouncing around right there. I'm pretty sure those triple spread shots are just larger and faster. There's also the buzz saws that are, yep, thank you, just on time. These buzz saws are annoying to deal with. Basically, this is a timed fight. I don't, like, not literally, but the faster you deal with this, the better. I'm dicking around and taking too long to deal with it because I'm trying to show more what he can do. Preferably kill him faster than later, right? So phase 2.5 is over. Actually avoid these things. I just touched it and I got damaged. Phase 2.5.5, now the heart is damaged, and we can now hit him in the center of his core. Buzzsaws still come out. The beam will now target you and blast right where you're standing, instead of pulling itself across the screen. It does have a pretty nasty hitbox to it. He's going to summon rubble. You have to dodge through the rubble and not get clipped like I just did. You can use slime to invalidate it. Dodge at the last second to avoid the meteor from the sky, and then just kind of, you know, play reverse Frogger and run through the balls as the fireballs land. And he's still doing it all. Look, we're gonna, it's not a sticky, it's just a damaging ball. I can use slime to just get around this nonsense if I want. Ugh. And he's gonna, you've more or less, I think, seen what he can do. I don't think he does that much else. He's just gonna summon missiles from the sky. If the missiles hit you, they do damage. Obviously, when they blow up, they also do damage. Because he's mean. The buzzsaws. I'm taking this very slow. As you can see, you can make a lot of mistakes on this and do very minimalistic damage. Now, the very first time that you fight Alexander, there's actually a special extra phase to this fight that you will not ever deal with again after you've done it once. It involves a bomb. So just know that there is... Oh, there it is, the waves. He's pulsing around the heart. Do it again? No? Fine, be mean. Be mean. He can shoot out a wave similar to Dad's big ball. Now, there's an extra phase involving a bomb. And in that extra phase, it is a literal DPS check. You need to destroy something fast enough before the bomb goes off. Otherwise, yes, it will be bad. Once you've done all of that, you have the actual phase 3. Old Man. Now, Old Man, normally not very difficult. He's very slow and he telegraphs all of his attacks a lot. Wait for it. He put a sticky on me. I'm just gonna stand there, dude. I don't... He's summoning little glass shards. Now, obviously, as you can see, you can't really run away from it too easily. What you want to do is stand next to him, and depending on which direction he aims in, just go past him. Much easier to dodge that way, right? If he puts a sticky on you, you just have to dodge when it pulses. But otherwise, he's kind of... He's just doing what he's doing, man. Now, that attack right there, I'm dodging that incorrectly. There is a way to dodge that. Hang on, let me show you how to dodge that right. Oh, wait, he's doing an ult. He's doing an ult. Ah, he's ulting me. I did slam at the very end. He was done. He was done. He's going to do another ult. When he goes to the very corner over here, he's doing a new move. He's going to summon these little dark shade faces things, and they're going to leave puddles of nasty goo everywhere. I'm gonna slime. Pulse. You see it? You can hear the little noise. Does a little pulse noise. Do something new. Summon a big ball. Summon spikes. Do the multi-split spike so I can show how to dodge it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do the multi-spike. You have to stand still. Just run across the screen. and then try and find an in-between to sit in. I didn't find it. I was not fast enough. Are we doing it again? Pools? Pools of nasty, gooey dudes? You hear the little... Right. You see that? He summons the multiple prongs around you, stand still, and before the extra ones skewer you, you just dodge. The old man fight, admittedly, you won't see half of this stuff because he is so quick to die, you will kill him before he does any of these ults. This is the most that I have ever seen him use these ult attacks because I am deliberately not finishing him off. And even then, I'm still alive. Dude, kill me. He won't even take off one of my life bars because of how weak he is. We've seen this. Just die. We've seen this, old man. And then he dies. Long story short, bum rush him. When old man comes out, hit him and hit him hard. The best way to approach him, hit him a bunch from one side. When he goes to do an attack, just dodge through and go to the other side. Keep hitting him from the other side, then alternate and just do that. And chances are, he is going to die long before you see any of those ultimate attacks. But now you've seen them, they are a little bit tricky to deal with. They are annoying, but you shouldn't die to them. Getting through phase 2, the big robo form, that's the real challenge. You might get through that phase and have a little bit of life left, and you might be in harm's way. Yikes. What I will say is if you do get to old man phase, you're right there. You're right at the end. Just bum rush him down and you're fine. And congratulations, you've beaten dark mode at level 0. You can now bump it up to level 1, which will have new challenges to face, more enemies, more difficulty, more, basic stuff. But the more enemies and the more difficult stuff, the more cool things you will unlock until eventually you have unlocked a ton of these really cool dark tech devices that add a lot to your build. For example, discover even more dark abilities. That's the one that you'll get that'll give you the second set of dark abilities that you can unlock. There's a lot here. This one up here is very, very special, and I realize that some people have seen me do this entire run with this little skull right here, and that is because this is a secret skin that you can unlock only after you've beaten difficulty level 10. So from 0 all the way up until 9 will give you all of these other cool things. For example, discover more cursed dark abilities. That's very, very cool. We come down here and it's got restock the dark quartz at the black market to 2 times. We have the different machines. Initially, you can only get common skulls, but by the time you unlock enough of the difficulties, you'll get the rare boys. There's a lot of cool things that you can get. What was this one? The collector sells special products. That's the special shop thing. A lot of these are for the shop. But once you beat difficulty level 10, and I get asked this a lot, this one right here will enable you to equip the cool secret skin that you can unlock. But you do have to beat difficulty level 10. So realistically, you've only got to beat 0 to 9 to get all of the actual unlocks. And as you saw from that run just then, once you unlock all of these once, they are active forever. You do not have to worry about them anymore. Treasure chests that appear on the map, sometimes ominous treasure chests. That's the omen amplifier. So omen chests become unlockable once you've done that. It's very, very good. So if you're wondering how half of these things are affecting my runs, now you know how. These dark tech devices, you unlock them by beating higher levels of the runs. If you've ever seen anything in my runs, or you've seen other videos and you're wondering, what is that? Why does your shop look different? These are why. Only have to do it all once. Once you've done it once, you can come back out, dude, and you can mess with all of these different difficulty parameters as much as you want. If you say to yourself, I'm feeling like doing a level 5 difficulty run. I don't want to be too easy, but I don't want it to be too hard. I want like a medium challenge kind of thing. Go for it, dude. If you just want to go into a level 0 run and destroy dudes with all the benefits and none of the negatives, go for it. Or if, like me, you do every single damn run on level 10 because you've got a death wish, go for it. Go for it. To wrap things up, if you have any other questions after this, feel free to ask them in the comments, and myself or someone else will be sure to answer them. If you have any difficulties with certain skulls, I've been playing the game for like 3 years now, since early access, right through release and all of the updates so far. I have runs for many different skulls in the game. Admittedly, some of them I'm biased towards and have played more than others because I have skulls I don't like to use, like Gargoyle and Yorkshire. I don't use them as much as I use others. But if you're looking for, gameplay of those guys to see how they work, I have plenty of videos on those, as well as more specific videos, like I said, if you want to see something on how to fight the secret boss, I've got a video up on that. I've got many difficulty 10 runs. I've got the GFUEL beginner guide I'm going to leave in the description down below, as well as the normal Overexplained run, which has a lot more in-depth stuff for just regular gameplay. This was more focusing on doing a hard mode run. If you're wondering about regular gameplay, the normal mode Overexplained from a few months back is also a really good watch if you want to learn more about that. But with all that said and done, I've got to get out of here. I hope you guys have learned something, and good luck out there with all of your dark mode runs, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one.